Hi guys, it's Andy from mcfcfantv and welcome to the Friday Night Social. It's 9:30 Friday night as usual, but this week we've got some new guests on. Alan is not on, neither is Ross this week, but what as we always have is Chris. Chris, how are you, mate?
I'm a bit tired. The first week back at work, yeah.
How's it gone?
All right, yeah. It was just not used to getting up every morning, mate. So yeah, it's gone all right. Just watched the EDS tonight. That was a really good performance by the lads tonight. I don't want to spoil the scoreline for Kurt because he doesn't know, but
yeah, we'll keep that because I'll make a note here. EDS. Maybe you can talk about that in a second.
Okay, mate.
Before we get into the Chelsea game, so keep a tight lip on that one. Kurt, yeah, he won't spoil it. He won't spoil it for you, mate.
All right,
how are you?
It does, mate. It's no big deal. I'm all right, mate. Living life as a dosser as always, so I haven't got to worry as much like Chris. So what can I say? City continue marching on, and we get to chat with a bunch of Blues on a Friday night. It's good.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a guest on this week that is new to the Friday Night Social. Not new to, well, he is new to Man City Fan TV, but he was on with you, Kurt, wasn't he? On All Leeds TV on the...
Not me, mate.
Tom.
You're forgetting, mixing up the young ones.
Tom, sorry. I do apologise. But that's Nick. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You're more than welcome. How's things, Nick? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, lifelong Blue since I was about 7. Been a season ticket holder since I can remember. But I've been exiled in Yorkshire for 21 years. So for my sins, I married into it. It's not by choice. I married into it. So, but still make the trip over the Pennines for all the home games. Yeah, so seen the bad days, seen the good days. Really enjoying the good days, and while the last, I've got a smile on my face as a City fan.
Well, listen, it's brilliant to have you on, mate. Really, sorry, I did say Kurt. It was the other Yorkshire lad, wasn't it? It was the other Yorkshire lad who was on. I get mixed up with all of these young guns on these vlogs, but it was the Yorkshire lad, Tom, who you were on with, and it was very, very, very interesting. That's why we wanted you to come on the Friday Night Social because thought it spoke a lot of sense, and it was really interesting listening to what he had to say about Man City. Don't know. Should we bring him on? Shall we? Right, he's here. Hey up.
Hey up. Hey up.
Hey up. Hey up.
Yorkshire thing spreading.
Hey up. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How is
there you
everyone?
Go. Yeah, very good, mate. We've got Martin on the Friday Night Social, so yeah, should be interesting tonight. We've got loads and loads of questions that we're going to have to bomb through as usual. I always say it's only going to be a few hours, but as usual, it'll probably turn out to be gone midnight as usual on here. But first things first, Chris. Before we get into the Chelsea, just to let the viewers know, we're going to look at the Chelsea preview. We're going to look at what we think about that, the lineup and score prediction. Then we're going to go to Kurt. Kurt's going to have a question about roles and where the stats and analysis play a part in that type of thing when with fans. Chris is going to talk about his improved contract. Will he get a new contract, I guess, is the question. Nick is going to talk about the fall and rise of Zinchenko, which should be interesting. Martin then is going to talk about buying players, young players in particular, and loaning them out. And is that the right model? Maybe. And finally, the question in the community chat, you still got a chance. I put that out 2 days ago, and that is a question that was asked last week, and we said we will hold it back for this week's Friday Night Social, and that is, what is your all-time Manchester City 11? And that is obviously from what you've seen, because we'd all like to add certain players in there, but if you didn't see enough of them, it's quite difficult to put them in. So, but before we get into the Chelsea preview, Chris, the EDS tonight, What was the final score? Kurt's going to go. What was the final score? I did see. I did tweet the goals by Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
So
City absolutely dominated United tonight in the EDS derby. 3-0 win. Cole Palmer, I'm sure, will grab the headlines with 2 really good finishes. The first one was superb.
Brilliant.
But there were 2 players on that pitch tonight who probably should get a real mention. Callum Doyle at the back was he was a rock, absolutely fantastic. Brought the ball out of defence, just went past the United players and started off so many attacks. And the young lad in the middle of the pitch, Romeo Lavia, he is a player. He's only just turned 17, but he is a player. What's up with him?
Martin's already got his sexual innuendos ready.
That was like one of my pronunciations, that.
That's his name, you.
All right.
Okay.
Don't start already. We've done 5 minutes.
So 3-0. Good performance. Yeah. I mean, those 2 Cole Palmer goals were super.
Fantastic.
Even the second one was a brilliant finish, but the first one was immense.
Stunning,
Absolutely immense.
To be fair, City should have had probably a couple more. Tommy Doyle hit the bar. They just played so well. And the first goal, but Lavia he intercepted the ball straight into the box and crossed it over for a Dozy to finish. Was a really good goal. You know, the City they played so well. United will come away from that feeling like they've been absolutely battered. Fantastic performance by the lads, and that means, Andy, that really one more win. That's that they win the title. If Spurs and Blackburn lose this weekend, then it's done anyway. So well done to the lads. Really good performance.
Fantastic. Yeah. And if you haven't seen it, go over and check out the goals. And if you haven't seen it on the official Man City site, go over at Aviation Blue. I did retweet the Cole Palmer goals in particular. 2 of them were absolutely amazing. Brilliant finishes. Right, before we get into the question for tonight, let's see who's on. Mark Boland's on. I'm back, Andy. What's up? How are you, mate? And no racism or mean or toxic comments. Well, let's hope so. We'll see who comes on tonight. Waiting for the best show. I know City fans' opinions love this show. Hurry up. I'm bored, says Ali Johnson. Hello, Blues. Ever like? Whatever that is. Charlie's on. Evening Blues. Another big game just around the corner. Come on, City. FNS. Hashtag haircuts. Hashtag delicious. Chris said hello, ciao. Chris always has to sort of say hello to his adopted son. Ronnie Beaver's on. Evening Blues. How are you? Let's see. Chris is saying hello to Ronnie. Sorry, I am going back quite a while. Ronnie says, hi, Chris. Looking forward to another epic show. Charlie says, I don't get how Sterling doesn't deserve a contract just because he's going through a rough patch in his career. For the first time, people are soon to jump on his back. We're going to talk about that later, mate. J.E. says Sterling hasn't hit his prime yet as well. His number's already insane. We are going to talk about it. Hi, guys. The EDS smash United, says Sean. Absolutely. Alec Johnson says, hello, my fellow Blues. Hope you're all good and safe. Mark says, like and sub, everyone, please. Let's get to 1,000 likes to stream. I think we'll be lucky to get to 1,000. Maybe 100 we might be lucky. Wow, Kane 2-2. Has he scored again? Everyone spam blue hearts in the chat. There you go. Everyone's giving it lots of blue hearts and spamming. That's fine. Don't mind if it's blue hearts. You're more than welcome to spam those, mate. Hi, Andy, says Alec Johnson. Hashtag, there you go, legend. Hi, Chris. Hi, Nick and Kurt and Martin, says Charlie. Evening, fellas. Mark Bones says, Andy, by any chance, can I be a mod? Everyone wants to be mods on Man City Fan TV. Looking forward to seeing Martin. Jack Lee says, good evening, Blues. 2-1 tomorrow, you reckon? We're going to come to that shortly. Hi, Kurt. Hello, Nick. Hi, boys, says Dudley Lewis. Sean says, hope everyone is safe and well and your family. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're all good, mate. Hi, Nick. Welcome, mate, says Jack Lee. Hi, Andy, says Mingy Wong. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the channel, says Sean. Jack Lee. Hello, Kurt and Chris. Hope you're well, mates. Hashtag Tractors is not on tonight. He ain't on tonight. Welcome to the channel, Nick, says Mingy Wong. Hi, Martin, says Sean. I ordered the poster of Vinny Company's goal versus Leicester today. Well done. Don't forget, if you want to order that, I will bring it up. There you go. That's it there. I will bring down one of your comments. Let me just bring that down. There you go. So if you want to, Ben Edwards post there and his channel and his print site on Etsy. This is obviously the Man City versus Leicester goal. Vinny Company right behind that goal when Vinny scored that. You can buy that. And it is, I think it's City 15. If you put in City 15, you can get 15% off if you're a Man City fan, TV subscriber. I think it is. I'm sure it's City 15. But you can go over to Etsy and search Man City prints, and you can go over and get that less than a £5. Absolutely amazing. But go over and support him. He is a blue, so if we can give him any support we can, that'd be fantastic. Charlie says, when we buy young players, they can use our facilities, even if they don't get into our first team. They have experience to become a pro. A different team, yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm not confident, and I'm nervous, says Abdallah. We are garbage against counter-attacks. Chelsea are one of the best at it. Oh, you're not very confident there, mate, are you? Thanks for sending me the prize. I really love it. You're more than welcome, Ming-Yu Wong. Nice little prize for you there, buddy. Lovely, happy days. MCFC Dublin Ireland, says Dale. Missed the game, gutted, hate those rags. Peter's on. Peter Gretzky, Evening Blues. How are you, mate? Let's just see if there's anybody else that I've missed in the chat. Stephen Dempster's on. I'm on. Looking forward to a good show as always. Thank you very much. Right. Dupes is on. How are you, Dupes? Hope you're well. But anyway, on to the Chelsea game tomorrow. So, Chris, got any stats for tomorrow?
Yeah, got a few stats. I'll start off by saying, Chelsea have certainly improved under Tuchel, undefeated in his first 14 games before losing badly, really, to West Brom 5-2 at home. So since his arrival, they've played 18 games, won 12, drawn 4, and lost 2. City in our last 18 have won 16 and lost 2. And Pep's record against Chelsea, played 11, won 7, no draws and 4 losses, 18 goals and 11 against. So I will be expecting another close game because they have all been fairly close games apart from that one off 6-0. So, yeah.
Right, okay. Nick, going to come to you first, since you're a new guest. What are your thoughts on tomorrow's game?
It's gonna be a tough game. I think the press are calling it as a tough game. I think it's going to be tough because they're a changed side since we saw them last. I know we beat them easily last time round. It's going to be tough, but I do feel that we've got the quality to get in amongst them. I think they were exposed when they got thrashed. I think with our style of play, our possession style of play, I don't think he's come up against that yet, and I do feel that we'll win. I don't think it'll be a comfortable win, but I do expect us to nick it in normal time. Okay, Kurt.
Well, for me with the Chelsea stuff, it's really funny because obviously they brought in Sarri all those years ago to change the system. They didn't like the 3 centre backs. They didn't like that Conte style. Yeah. Then they went to Lampard, bringing in youth, progressive football, forward-thinking football. Chelsea fans were loving it. All went horribly wrong. They replaced the manager with a guy who basically always plays 3 at the back systems, and they're just regressing to the Conte-esque system pretty much in terms of how they build from the back. I think they're actually a really weak team. They've got a lot of quality in their team individually. They've got some exceptional players, which I think gets them out the bag. And the replacement goalie Mendy's been probably the biggest shining light because I think if they would have had to have Kepa still in goal, they wouldn't nowhere near be in the position they had. He's got a lot of clean sheets, considering he didn't come in at the start of the season. So it's a tough game, but I expect City to go through. The way it seems with me when we play Chelsea, it's either we beat them or they beat us. I don't really feel like we get too many draws against Chelsea, so I think it's going to be done in the 90, and hopefully it can be a City side. But I don't expect a huge amount of problems. The only thing is they got 24 hours on us because they played the day earlier.
Martin?
I'm actually quite confident. Pep and Tuchel have had 5 games. Pep's won 3, drawn 2, never lost. I think with the last 3 times we've played Chelsea at Wembley, we beat them every time. 1 was on penalties. But Chelsea, even though, like Kurt said, they've got 24 hours on us, they're coming off a defeat. I know it was a decent strike, and I think Pep said it all in his press conference today. I think they're going to bounce into tomorrow's game after Wednesday. I think they're going to bounce into it. And I do, as Ronnie says, quad father. I'm hoping that name sticks forever now because we win the quad. I've got to say we're going to win, because if I don't, I make myself look a bit of a prat for the last how many months. So I have to
do.
now
Full on flip-flop.
Flip-flop, yeah.
You don't have to try,
flipping now.
All right, Skegness. Honestly, I think we're going to beat these and beat them quite well. I think Chelsea have improved very, very well, and I do think they're in for a shout for top 4. I don't think they'll quite make it, because I'm really big on West Ham. I do think West Ham are going to do it this year. Maybe that's me hoping they do, but Chelsea have done well. But I just think right now, with what's in front of us, I just think we're going to go for it, and we'll, like Nick says, dominating with our possession.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, my biggest concern, Andy, is really what's coming up, because we've just had a massive game midweek. As I think so did Chelsea, but I think they were more comfortable than we were in that tie from the first leg. We've got a game coming up in the midweek, which really I think we will need to win that Premier League game against Villa to stop any sort of chances. And Alan will go mental if we put a weakened side out, and I worry about him. And then we got a cup final, and then we've got PSG first leg. So I mean, these are just unbelievable times.
Yeah.
So I think Pep will play a very strong side tomorrow, but I think that Villa game will be. I don't think it'll be such a weak side as it went out against Leeds. I'm expecting a tight game. The quad father up there is always too confident for my liking.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. The quad father can have his say on the lineup for tomorrow, because what we're going to do is we're going to go through who you think will be in net, and as usual, I will mark down each person's teams. Must admit, I did say 2-1 against Dortmund. Got that right. That's a first for a long time. But anyway, everyone in agreement? Eddie?
Yeah.
Anybody going anything different?
Just want to point out, Andy, I got both the lineups and the score right. So if I
you didn't get the lineup right. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No. I went through the lineup. Nobody got the lineup right. Nobody. So you're not getting away with that. No chance. There were two people, you and somebody else, with one player away. Was it Nick? Was it you? There was one player away. So, but nobody got the lineup right. No, I ain't having it. Because there was a prize on offer. I did put it on there saying if anybody can predict the exact lineup.
I had to do my predictions before the pep.
Rubbish. It was on there. I said before 6 p.m.
guys.
I said before 6 p.m. you can put it in the community chat, and
Oh,
you'll win a prize.
I'll get it maybe in like another 10 seasons. I might have another shot.
Maybe. It's like that. It's like
I got the lineup bang on because I put it into StreamYard at 9 a.m. in the morning, and it's the first time I've never
just the little ones all day long.
The world's smallest violin, and it's played just for you.
Hey, this is Kurt.
Anyway,
7 minutes to go. Was worrying we were still going to get knocked out when Dortmund needed 3 goals on Wednesday.
That's because he's a proper blue.
Yeah. But anyway, right. Everyone's going Eddie. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. Whoa.
No, I think we'll play Stefan.
I've gone for Stefan as well.
Yeah.
What?
Zach Stefan tomorrow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I would go with Eddie.
Oh, okay. So Nick and Martin are going for Stefan. Chris?
Yeah, with Eddie.
Eddie.
Yeah. It's a big game. You cannot have a team in such a big game.
I'm the same. I think it's a bit harsh for Stefan because obviously he's the cup keeper, but Pep's done it before. Stuck Eddie in the League Cup final against Arsenal.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting there. So
did he do it in the FA Cup final against Watford? Did he play Edison in the final?
Can't remember the lineup for that game, mate. All I remember about that game is Kevin De Bruyne coming
on the 30 minutes and
getting man of the match.
I can't remember when he played Edison in that one.
I think he did play him.
He don't care. He wants to win.
Right. Okay. So we're Chris with Eddie, Martin with Stefan, Kurt with Eddie, Nick with Stefan. Interesting. Right. Obviously, when we do the lineups on here, we do a 4-3-3. So fit it in how you like. Full backs then. I'm going to come to Nick first. Full backs.
Yeah, I think he'll play Cancelo right back.
Okay.
I think Walker absolutely ran himself ragged with midweek, so I think he'll give him a rest. I think he'd probably rather play him in the Villa game. So I think he'll go Cancelo, and I'm toying between Mendy and Zinchenko, but I think he'll give Zinchenko another game at left back.
So you're going Zinky. Okay. Chris?
Yeah, that's my 2. I never would have seen Mendy on that side again after that Leeds game. I think absolutely spot on there, Nick. I think Walker had a bit of a dodgy start against Dortmund, but he just came into the game and he was fantastic. A brilliant performance for him. And like Nick said, he was up and down that wing hole. He deserves a rest, really. So I'll go with the same, isn't it?
So you're going Cancelo and Zinky then, Kurt?
To be honest, this is, for me, the hardest decision of the lineup. I'm going to go with Ake and Cancelo. But Cancelo on the right, Ake on the left.
Cancelo and Ake.
Got to rest Zinchenko.
Interesting. Martin?
It's the Ake one that's just thrown me because I didn't even think about Ake at left back. I do think it'll be Mendy. I just think, unfortunately for Chris,
in the FA Cup semi-final, are you mad?
Yeah. I'm a mad, no, not mad, but and I think it'll be Cancelo, even though I don't think either of them deserve the place on recent performances, but I think they'll both be in there.
Okay. On to your centre-back pairing then, Nick.
I think he'll go strong. He's got to. I think it's a cup semi-final. I think he'll go Stones Diaz.
#delicious. Stones and Diaz. So Ross will be happy with #delicious. Kurt?
Diaz and Laporte. I think with Cancelo at right back, I prefer Diaz as the right centre back.
So you're going Diaz and Laporte, Chris?
That's what I've got, yeah. Diaz and Laporte.
You've gone for Diaz and Laporte. Martin?
Diaz and Laporte.
God. Diaz and Laporte for Martin as well. Very interesting. Right, okay. On to our holding CDM. Nick?
I think it'll be Rodri. I think.
You think it'll be Rodri?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so Rodri in there then. Kurt?
It's my man Fernandinho. I'm sticking him.
You're going for Ferner. Chris?
Rodders for me.
You're going for Rodri as well. Martin?
I think he'll play Rodri.
Martin's going for Rodri as well. Okay. 2 ahead of him then, Nick?
Definitely Kevin De Bruyne. I think he'll play him. I think it's an important game. Probably rest him midweek, but I do think he'll definitely play this game. And I think Gundogan will be on the other side.
You think Gundo?
Yeah.
Mr. Whippy. Right. Kurt?
My lineup's really spicy. I have KDB and Foden as the 2 eights.
KDB.
Gundo needs to be rested. He ain't playing full 90 again. He ain't got the legs for that.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I've gone the same as Nick, actually. I've gone for KDB and Gundogan.
KDB and Gundo. Martin?
I'm with Kurt. I think Gundogan ran himself into the ground the other night, so I've gone for Fernandinho and KDB.
Fernandinho?
Yep. I think he's going to do what he did at Leicester and go with Rodri and Fernandinho.
So you're going Rodri, KDB and Fernandinho? All right. Okay. Okay.
Not a bad
He
shout.
did it against Leicester.
It's not bad. Yeah.
I just was, yeah.
I was thinking about it, but I don't want to risk both my DMs with the running we've got.
Yeah.
That's the reservation for me personally with it. But I see the train of thought.
And also, if Fernandinho plays in this game, he certainly won't be playing in midweek, I would have thought. And that means Rodri will have to play,
That's what I'm thinking.
Back, you've got to look after the players as best you can. So that's
it's interesting. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. Right, on to, we'll obviously go for a front 3. So what we'll do is we're going to go for the full 3, Nick, because otherwise we're getting to who's striker, who's false 9. You can play a false 9, you can do whatever you like, but who is your front 3 then?
If I was in charge, I would definitely play Jesus because I think Thiago Silva, he'd run rings around him tomorrow. I think he would run rings around him. You're playing Jesus up front as a 9. Up front, yeah. He'd be a 9, and then I'd have Sterling. I think Sterling probably deserves another game, so I'd have Sterling on the left, on the left, and then Mahrez on the right. And I think he'll rest Foden.
Sterling and Mahrez on the right. Okay, Kurt?
Like I said, the surprises keep coming with me. I've got my Sterling on the left, Jesus down the middle, and Torres on the right.
Sterling, Gabby, and Torres on the right. Okay, Chris?
Raz on the left.
Sterling, yeah.
No, actually, sorry, I've got Sterling on the right. Sorry, Andy.
Hold on. Okay, Sterling on the right. Yeah.
I'd play Phil on the left.
Foden.
And Gabby up front.
Okay, so you're going for that as well. Martin.
Foden on the left, Gabby up top, and Torres on the right.
Foden, Gabby, and Torres on the right, did you say?
Yeah.
Right, well, there you go. Chris's lineup is Eddie in net with Cancelo and Zinky as our fullbacks, Diaz and Laporte, Rodri holding with KDB and Gundogan. And then we've got Chris thinks Sterling on the right, Foden on the left, and Gabby up front. Martin thinks Stefan in net, Cancelo on the as right back, Mendy as left back, Diaz and Laporte centre backs, Rodri holding, KDB and Ferner ahead of him, with Torres on the right, Gabby up front, and Foden on the left. Kurt thinks Eddie in net, Cancelo and Ake as the fullbacks with Diaz and Laporte. with Ferner holding with KDB and Foden ahead of him, with Torres, Gabby and Sterling. Nick thinks it's going to be Stefan in net with Cancelo and Zinky, with Stones and Diaz. Rodri holding KDB and Gundogan ahead of him, with Mahrez on the right, Sterling on the left, and Gabby Jesus up front. Well, for what it's worth, this is my team. Never right. So Eddie in net, Walker right back, Stones and Diaz, and Mendy at left back. So I've gone with Martin. I think he might play Mendy tomorrow. I've got Fernandinho holding. I've got KDB and Gundogan ahead of him. I've got Mahrez on the right. I've got Gabby up front, and I've got Sterling on the left. So I agree with most of you, but I've got a feeling after Zinky had a great game. Thought he had a brilliant game. I don't know. I just think he might bring Mendy back for tomorrow. But I guess we will wait and see. Loads of people are putting their comments in. Braden Thompson's Chris looking fine as usual. There you go.
Thank you, mate.
All the love for Chris tonight. Eddie Walker, Diaz, Stone, Zinky, Ferner, KDB, Gundogan, Foden, Mahrez, Sterling, reckons Jack Lee, Charlie, Mingy Wong say, oh, was that Mingy? Oh, MYW.
He's think he's replying to Mingy Wong.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay.
No, Mingy Wong's got a job at BBC Sport, Andy.
I was going to say, is he reporting now from there? Charlie thinks it's going to be Stefan, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Fernandinho, KDB, Gundogan, Foden, Sterling, Jesus. You're missing somebody
He doesn't want a left back.
I think he's missing somebody there.
I'm pretty sure City most of the time don't want a left back most of my life as well. So
we don't need 11 players, do we? The way we play, we only need 10.
We will only have 10 if you play Mendy, Andy. So
yeah, well, maybe 87 people on. Hit that like button. Thank you guys. Yeah, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. There's loads of people on, but anyway, we're going to move on to our score predictions for tomorrow. So, shall I come to me first? Seeing as I got the 2-1 the other night. No, I'll leave it to you guys. Nick, what is your score prediction for tomorrow?
2-0 City.
Oof, very confident. 2-0 City, straight in there. Kurt?
I really don't think Chelsea are going to score either, mate. I think it's going to be 2-0 City. I don't think they got much up top.
2-0?
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0 City. I'm loving this confidence. Chris?
I think it'll be 2-1 City.
2-1 City, says Chris. Martin? Sorry, my table just moved.
Just a quick one for Braden Thompson. I'm just having a look then. If he types in blind as a bat, he'll get 15% off Specsavers for a lovely eye test. And clearly needs one.
Sorry, Martin, can you listen? Can anyone who's watching please give Martin a bit of love? He's feeling left out.
I've gone for 3-0 tomorrow. I'm with Kurt. I think they're very lackluster up top.
Right. Well, I'm going for my usual 3-1 City for me. So there we go. Chris thinks it's going to be 2-1 City. Martin thinks it's going to be 3-0 City. Kurt thinks 2-0 City. So does Nick. He thinks 2-0 City. And I've gone for 3-1 to Manchester City. But anyway, we're going to move on to the next question, which is the first Friday Night Social question of the night. And that is Kurt. And it's about stats and fan analysis and things like that. So over to you, mate.
Right. So first off, I'll just get the question out there, and then I'll just give you my take before sending it around the room. It's often we talk about stats of players, and it often causes a lot of contention in regards to assessing the player's individual performance or performance in the team. So my question is, what are the role of stats in fans' analysis of performances? For me personally, I think obviously the most important thing when you're looking at stats is context of the stats. For example, if you're looking at minutes per goal involvement, there's obviously a lot of variables, and the variables are way too high to just look at goals per minute alone and it be a useful stat. to be honest. So obviously, in a couple examples of the variables I'm talking about would be things like how many minutes were starts versus how many minutes were substitutions, the quality of the opponent faced, the sample size you're using to judge these players, the positional differences and roles. Oh. Did I come back?
It's okay.
There was a bit of feedback from someone there.
Yeah, there was.
I just lost my train of thought. 1 second. Yeah, so and then someone wants to do it outside my window, ragging it down the old road on a Friday night. They do not want me to get the point out concisely, do they? But anyways, back to what I was saying. So obviously, we're talking about some of the things, like I was saying, with what the minutes are, when they're played, who they're played against, the sample size. But we can also obviously use stats to help us reduce some of these variables. So we can look at stats like big chances missed, shots per game, conversion rate, key passes, dispossession, dribbles, assists. All these things add context to the goal involvements because they directly contribute to it in one way or another. So I just did, as an example thing, I created like a little chart of 3 players who are playing generally similar positions all season, and the 3 players I chose to look at was Foden, Sterling, and Mahrez, and they all had not crazy differences in terms of the minutes, and I did a big breakdown on them, and I don't think I can put them in the chat because I think that it will be way too big for the comments. But I can post all the stats afterwards. I'll just run through them because obviously you guys won't remember all these individual stats. But just as a context, it's Mahrez 1,710 minutes. He averages a goal and an assist every 131 minutes. Foden plays 1,358 minutes and he averages a goal every 123 minutes. Just for context, these are Premier League only stats, by the way, because I didn't want to aggregate from different competitions. I ain't got that much time. Sterling, 2,177 minutes. His averages a goal every 145 minutes. So you can see by those numbers alone, the raw stat I was talking about at the start, there's not particularly much between our 3 wingers in terms of the output, in terms of goals and assists. But then you can just, as I said, breaking it down, adding the further context, we look at things like shots. For example, Mahrez has had 51 shots. 20 of them on target with a 39% on target shot accuracy and a conversion rate of 18%. Whereas Foden has 37 shots, 17 on target, 46% of shots are on target with a conversion rate of 16%. Sterling has 58 shots, 25 on target, 43% of the shots on target and 16% conversion rate. So once again, we see that these stats are very correlated and they're very, very close to each other. And then looking at one of the key stats that probably separates the players in terms of the eye test of what people see is big chances missed. Mahrez has missed a total of 5 big chances in the Premier League, and that leads to 1 big chance missed every 342 minutes. Foden's missed 4 big chances, 1 every 339 minutes. And Sterling has missed 12 big chances, 1 every 181 minutes. So obviously of the stats I've done, this is the one that's clearly the outlier. And it starts, and then we can start to see where problems are, because we look at things like dribbles and dispossessions. Sterling attempts and completes more dribbles than both Mahrez and Foden by quite a lot, by it's about 0.2 or 0.3 every game, and it's 1 more complete dribble than Foden does every game. But he gets dispossessed at double the rate. So what we'd say is a high-risk player in terms of on the ball. So just what I'm doing with these stats, guys, I know it's just a lot of numbers really quickly. I'm just trying to give you the idea of, like, you can start to see when you start to break down stats and you correlate the stats in the right arguments, you can see actual things. We see that there isn't a big difference between their involvements every minute. But the thing that separates Mahrez and Sterling, for example, would be correlated with the eye test saying, look, we know Mahrez is probably more likely to be conservative with his ball and actually take his chance, whereas Sterling's going to probably take a more high-risk opportunity and high-risk chance. And we see those with stats. So I think it's easy. The main point I want to get across is it's very easy to, like, look at stats to form an opinion that you've already made, which I think is the main problem. We all do this, whether we're conscious of it or not. It's just what happens in everything: media, football, politics, all that sort of stuff. So it's just when I just want to get your guys' thoughts of what is actually the role in when we look at stats to analyze players. Is it about being right? Is it about looking at the deeper aspects of it? And what is the purpose of fans? Because obviously for the organizations, it's very important. But what's its role for us fans? And obviously, I want to kick this off, starting with our guest Nick. I know I waffled on for a long time there. I just wanted to get it out. But yeah, what do you think that what role do stats play for fans when they're when they're analysing players' performances over a short period of time or a long period of time?
I suppose it tests their unconscious bias. I think that's what it does, because those stats are quite well. I mean, they're a little bit surprising to me, and I think I do have a slightly unconscious bias towards Mahrez, because I think a lot of people do, and I think it's quite natural, and that has changed over time as you see his game change. I mean, the bit about him being a bit more conservative in possession, it's a great shout, and it's something that I think, because you take somebody's highlights from what you see and what you correlate what you see, and you do see him taking, sometimes not taking a more advanced position or moving the ball where you expect him to do, So certainly when I used to go to when we could go to the ground, the guys around me were, why is he not taking him down the byline? Why is he not doing this? And I think a lot of the time, is you're right, it's about that. It's about taking that measured risk. And I think he's more measured than Sterling in that he waits for the right opportunity to come before taking those chances. So from my perspective, data is important in that it either proves or disproves what you think. What's interesting, I think, is that we do get a lot of chances in games, and I wonder how that compares really to sides that perhaps don't get as many chances, but you see more conversion. So an example there would be someone like Son at Spurs.
Just to interrupt you briefly, I didn't do the full breakdown for Son. I picked 3 comparable left wingers or right wingers who generally play similar positions every game. Obviously, Son sometimes plays up on top of his own, but Mane, 2,276 minutes, a goal every 189, so much lower than our guys. Son is a goal and assist every 108 minutes. But like I said, I'm sure if I went into breakdown of these stats, the reason why Son's so much higher is because the amount of total shots that he has comparative to teammates like ours. We're the sort of team where we have 3 or 4 players get 12 goals a season. Spurs is the sort of team where Harry Kane and Son get all their goals. So it's just another point to my thing about examples of And then another one, just the last one I had on my list, was Rashford, who had 2,526 minutes and averaged a goal every 148. So Mahrez, Sterling, and Foden were all above him. So just as a context thing, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and as I say, I think like I say, data is important, but it depends what data you're looking at, because we're looking really at what they do in the attacking third there. Yeah, and I think the way Man City play at the moment, I think there are other stats and other data that I'm not saying are as important for the attacking players, but I'm pretty sure that our statisticians at City and our data analysis will be more inclined to be looking at as well.
We don't get all the stats. For example, there's some things that just physically can't be quantified, and there's other things that we just don't get the data. Like I couldn't find anywhere that I could have any credibility for like amount run per game, sprints per game, recovery runs. How do you test for movement? How do you quantify movement off the ball? How do you quantify tactical awareness? How do you quantify tenacity? That's why I think there's the melding of having the eye test and the stats, because I think sometimes it's players look at numbers on boards and go, this player is good or this player is bad, as opposed to having like the holisticness around it to actually have a meaningful conversation about statistics. Because I think, like I said, a lot of time people are just using it to either prove their point or prove someone else wrong, which I don't think is the right way to when we're looking at it.
No, I agree. Yeah,
but I don't know. Is there anything else you want to mention in regards to what do you think it should be? How any ideas of what you think fans should really do when they're looking at stats? Is there any way you think it should be going about, or is it just each their own? And just as long as you're using a bit of context and common sense.
I think it's exactly that. I think it's the context that you're using it in, because as I say, we play differently to a lot of other sides. what you expect from one player might not necessarily be what you might expect from. So, we're almost comparing apples to apples. And that's the difficulty with data, because data's factual. It doesn't take into account a lot of other things. And I think that I wouldn't use it solely to judge a player's performance. You've got to look at a lot of other things that, as you say, might not be measurable or easy to measure.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a really interesting topic. What's your take on it all, Chris? Obviously, listening to the stats I broke down. As I said, I couldn't get them all in the chat, but I'll post all the stats afterwards in the comments after the videos if anyone wants to look at them. But what was your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I think I'm not really big on stats. I think I've said that plenty of times. Sort of, I like to see how a player, performs in a game. And I think the thing with stats as well, we could play, say you played, I don't know, Gabby, for one of a player against, say, Cheltenham in a cup game, and he might score a hat-trick in 10 minutes because you come on as a sub, and then for 10 minutes or something like that, and then he doesn't score in the Premier League for a week. What I like about players is the big game players, and we saw it in Borussia Dortmund. Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden were outstanding in that game. They really were. That's what you expect from big game players. There were other players on that pitch. I thought, Gundogan and Walker as well, Zinchenko. I thought there was a lot of good performances. I think a player who sometimes gets judged in with those front three is Bernardo. I think he plays a different role in the team.
That's why I didn't look at him in the stats. I tried to, with the breakdown I gave you guys, this is the most streamlined way you can do to analyze a player, because, like I said, these guys, I'd say at least 75% of the games are playing in those fixed positions, because I agree, it's just another variable you add in when you're comparing players who are playing in multiple positions. I think it's difficult. Yeah,
and if you look at Bernardo in the Borussia Dortmund game, he was playing deeper, and they were beating our press, and then Pep shoved him up to get onto Hummels a bit more, and he didn't have so much time on that ball, and then the passes weren't so deliberate. They lost a lot of possession, and now that is Bernardo's role. I think he's the man to keep that press up, and he might not score the goals of a Raz, and he might not have the assists of a De Bruyne, but his role within the team is exceedingly important. I thought he had a really good game, but it's an understated game. It's almost like a Fernandinho. You can miss Fernandinho in games, but he's controlling that game, and I think Bernardo does that slightly further up the pitch. But yeah, but I don't think stats are totally and utterly irrelevant. And I think for scouting players and looking at what they're able to bring, and it's also stuff like how many games a player can perform at, and minutes. And I think that's where we've been really good in our purchases in recent years. There's not many failures because I think we do a lot of background on them. But I think that my main thing about a footballer is how I see them play, and we all see things differently. I don't mind that. That's absolutely fine. But stats. I won't. If someone throws a stat at me, I'll be like, yeah, fair enough. But I can throw, like you say, I can throw a stat back at you, and it's just like you say. For me, sometimes it's point proving, and it's not completely necessary.
Fair enough. Martin, what's your take on it all? Obviously, kept you waiting to get your say, but what do you think the role of stats are in the fans' analysis of players?
For me, I've never been to the Etihad, sat in my seat, looked at the guy next to me, and he's got a conversion rate of this, and he's got 400. That isn't a football fan. For me, it's a job for, like Chris says, the what they called now?
Scouts.
The scouts, match of the day, things like what we're doing now. It's become more prevalent. Like when there's lockdown and fans are at home, then the stats seem to be coming a bit more up. But I'm going to be honest, when I'm sat in the Etihad or an away game, I don't sit there thinking about stats. I'm using my two eyes as stats.
My counterpoint to that, Martin, is the thing with stats is we haven't had Opta for that long, and Opta haven't even been carrying stats of so many categories for so long. In back in the 90s, we just didn't have the stats to even talk about. All we had was the match stats, possession, shots on target, that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
When I go back to the and I still won't use stats.
That's not what I'm saying. My point is and also you got to remember with the globalization of football, statistics isn't. I'm not big on American sports, but American sports statistics and numbers are really important to their sports. And I think with the things of like fantasy leagues, fantasy Premier Leagues, all this sort of stuff, people are becoming more interested in stats because they have them, see numbers on Twitter, charts. You just see it. It's far more prevalent than it used to be. And obviously with it being more prevalent, I'm just asking what you think stats role is in when fans analyze it, because I don't disagree that a 40-year-old fan or a 30-year-old fan that's been going to football every week just reads what he does, goes on Twitter. He's not bothered about conversion rates and things of that nature. I understand that point, but that was not really the question I'm asking. I'm just asking what do the stats role? What's their role for the fans? Because obviously we do see it changing obviously a lot.
Well, I think, like Chris said, I think it's to win. Probably argument sometimes. Should prove a point on a player. The one that I've said, Pep come out with one. I think it was 2 months ago about Gabby Jesus. He looks like bloody Messi when you start rolling out the stats. That Pep word. I'm sorry, I've got two eyes. I can see what I'm seeing, and Pep can throw the stat at me about Jesus all day long. I still will not class him as a potent striker, even though the stat will show that he's got a really brilliant conversion rate compared to the minutes and the games that he's played in. But on Chris's point of view, when you look at it, maybe two of them, not that it wasn't, 2 or 3 of them are against. Andy's point of view of Mara's last season. And this, Mara scored, was it Oxford? Who was it? And a few others lower in the cups, and there was some. And that's where you get some people who say you stat padding. Players will obviously stat pad as well. I just find they show a very. It can be used in agendas against players, which I think we've all got. Every football fan is subjective.
Tribalism, mate, it is what it is.
They're all subjective, and everyone. There's 5 of us here. All 5 of us will walk into the Etihad. Not all of us are coming out with the same view of a player, the same view of the game, the same view of anything. But we'll all see the same stat. We will all look at the same stat, but we'll all. So I think stats are great for Chris's point of view in terms of scouts, the buying of a player, the media, that sort of thing. And that's just where I am. I get it. I do get it. And it's Opta's coming since 2003.
Something like that, yeah. There's different levels of it as well. They've been adding different things over the years. So there's certain things that haven't been.
Well, I think you said it. The stats, there's a stat within a stat within a stat within a stat now. Well, you see a stat and then tear that stat apart.
This is what I was talking about. My main thing with it is when you're looking at stats, you need to add the context to the stat. Otherwise, the stats are irrelevant. And that's just in any form of life. If you don't add the context to the data that you're presenting, then it's irrelevant. It's the same thing with having a pointless sample size, irrelevant data to use. So I think the problem is I think a lot of the time it's become a bit of a lot of people have lost the eye test and they just look at the numbers. I think it's a lot of the problem with the statistics. And I think it's like we're probably all in agreement. It's about a good balance of the both. Looking at numbers to help try and sway bad unconscious biases against players and also to accurately analyze players. But that's where I'm at with you. But I completely agree with you, Martin, in terms of I don't never seen anyone go to a game and chat to the next in person about things like that. It's not a general football thing. Sorry, Chris, you got something, mate?
Well, do you think it's an Americanism? Because
I think it's a globalism. I think like I said, with things like fantasy football, the idea a lot of people are playing Football Manager, FIFA, and also in the age of information, everybody wants to seem more knowledgeable than they maybe are, or pretend to have information that they probably don't actually have understood as well as they think they do, things of that nature. I think it's just a modernization. I think the problem with the stats is like the 140 character Twitter stuff. Like I said, if you're just giving me one stat randomly with no basis, no context, I don't care. But if, like I said, someone brought me a stat like I did, breakdown with relevant stats of relevant parts of the context of the point I'm trying to make, then I'd look at it. So like I say, me, it's all about context and actually having, like a good faith argument. You know, you're not coming in it to prove a point. You're actually both looking at the numbers and trying to extrapolate what you think based on the numbers. So I think it's a bit of that, really. But yeah, I think a lot of people need to remember that the eye test is just as important as the stats. Eyes don't lie at the end of the day. But that leads us nicely on to. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just going to say it's not really snuck into rugby union yet. They seem to stick.
I don't know the fantasy side of the stuff that because I think a lot of that has to do with it for me personally.
Yeah.
But I know Andy said he had some bits and bobs on it, so that's why I was leaving him till last, because I know he had was correlating a few notes and stuff down as he always does. A trusty pen ready. So, what are your thoughts on it all, Andy? And to the question of what the role of stats are in the analysis of players for fans.
Well, Kenny McLaughlin says, as a fan, stats are bollocks. They're there for people employed in the game and the media. And I do agree to a certain extent with that comment. But then I disagree to a certain extent with that comment as well. Comment was made about the eye test. Well, first things first, you have to be in the ground to watch the game.
With the eye test, exactly.
So there's only 53,000 allowed into the Etihad Stadium, and when it's full, with away fans as well, 54,500 or whatever it is. So unless you're there, the eye test doesn't make a blind bit of difference unless you're watching for what goes on the pitch and you're in a position in the stand to be able to watch the whole pitch. Because Martin, you're in the Colin Bell, you're quite low down in the Colin Bell. You're only about few rows back, aren't you? So to see an overview of that, I'm normally in 316 looking down, seeing the whole pitch, but you could be watching one player, what he does, keeping an eye on a certain player. I could be up there and I could be looking at one player and missing what somebody else does. So the eye test it's irrelevant because most fans will follow where the ball is going. Unless you're into stats and analysis, you're not going to watch a full overview of the game. You might see a little bit more if you're higher up and you're looking from above. So the eye test is only it's subjective. It's what you want to watch of the game. Most people follow where the ball is, depending on your position. But if you're a bit higher up, you might see a little bit more of the overview of the game. So for me, the eye test is one thing. Yes, if you want to look at it from a stats and analysis point of view, you have to look at the complete picture. And sometimes we don't get that on TV either, do we? We don't see it.
No, I was going to say I had a private conversation about Martin. I said this exact thing. You can only see one third of play. You can't see the other two. You don't know how it's happening in build up. You don't know why the midfielders are playing it slowly because you can't see how the space is being killed by the opposing defenders. Completely agree with you there.
Yeah, you don't see people running off the ball, people marking, and moving in positions and things like that. Stats, well, I think stats are important because stats we use in business. Stats are used throughout the world of business. So, to say that stats are not important, they are important. They're extremely important. They're used in every single business throughout the world. Stats are, if you're in sales, I'm not in sales, but if you're in sales, stats are massive to whether you keep your job or you don't. So stats are very, very important. Why would Manchester City employ millions and millions of pounds on statisticians every year to look into the whole analysis of football if they're not important? Why? Another thing, why would players wear bibs that are electronically record the whole thing of runs, steps,
heart rate,
movements,
everything.
Heart rate, blood pressure? If stats are not important, why would they do that? Stats are massively, massively important in the game of football right now. Are they a true indicator of what we as fans discuss? I'm not so sure. Because I agree with a couple of the other comments. I do think they are subjective because you do have your favourite players and the players that you watch with your eyes and go, yeah, but he should be going around the outside of him there. He should be doing this. And we're all armchair fans, aren't we? At the end of the day,
Of course we are.
Armchair managers, I should say. Not fans, but armchair managers. We all, we have our opinions on things like that. But stats do play a massive part. Otherwise, why is everybody going and talking about Erling Haaland and his numbers in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League this year? Because against City, in both games, for me, it was garbage. He had a couple of good touches. It was garbage. Absolutely garbage. Why? If we're talking about stats, does that mean that, well, I saw it with my eyes. If I saw him over 2 games, I'd go, he was like an Emil Heskey. Rubbish. But you look at his stats in the Bundesliga and the Champions League goals, you go, hold on a minute here. This kid bangs in goals left, right, and centre. Not scored in 6 games. Not scored for the Norwegian team in 3. Hold on a minute. If we want to talk about stats, if we take it on stats, then if that's the case, not scored in 6, and where everyone's slagging off Raheem Sterling, well, don't spend 154 million quid on Erling Haaland, because if stats play such a big part, don't buy him. So it's like, so stats do play a part. They do definitely play a part, but there's also the eye test. I do agree with that, but that then is very subjective because we are armchair managers. So we have our favourites and things like that. Now, I'm not going to come to my stats. I'll come to that to the next question when we talk about Raheem Sterling with Chris's question and about contracts. So I'm not going to talk about stats and things like that. But it's very interesting. But I do agree that with some, I think stats do play a part. Otherwise, you wouldn't have teams employing statisticians that do everything to do with heart rate monitors and to do with player passes and XGs and all that type of stuff. They employ people to do that. So if it went on stats, we won't buy Erling Haaland because it's been garbage in the last 2 games against City. That was the case, but we know he's banging in goals left, right, and centre for Dortmund, and overall he's a very good player. But Martin,
yeah, thing on stats, we had 29 shots against Leeds and lost the game 2-1.
Yeah, I completely agree with SOS. The only stat that matters is the final score.
Yeah, but I always remember Brian Clough started quote I heard. He didn't care if the opposition team had 45 shots. If his team went up the other end in the 89th minute and bagged the winning goal and won 1-0, that matters.
I mean, but that's the end result. We're talking here about stat analysis on players, particularly, not about the club.
Oh no, but
not about the team.
The question I thought was how fans felt.
But it's about players rather than teams. I mean,
it's not about like a team. It's about individuals' performances. Like, for example, going X player is got X goals. This, you know what I mean? And they're just bringing up one stat and affecting narratives. Like I was saying, I remember Nick at the start of the conversation, like when we spoke was about the unconscious bias sometimes we have around players. Like, for example, Morris, people being frustrated because sometimes he doesn't make the move that other players would. And then we also have frustrations with Raheem because sometimes he tries to make these moves and it goes to nothing. He gets dispossessed and we get angry at them. These are all the things that I'm talking about. It's not so much of like
I do think with the stat thing though. I do think with the stat thing, and somebody mentioned it. Somebody said right at the beginning of this thing, and he was talking about Bernardo. I think it was Chris was talking about Bernardo plays in a different position, and I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. For me, Bernardo Silva is an attacking midfielder or a right winger or plays on the wing. He's an attacking player. He's not a defensive player. He don't play. He rarely ever plays in a defensive role for City. So for me, he's an attacking player like Foden, like KDB. KDB has sometimes dropped the second half and things like that. But KDB is an attacking player. Foden is an attacking player. Bernardo is an attacking player. So is Sterling. So is Mahrez. So is Torres. So is Sergio. So is Gabby. They're attacking players. I will bring up stats in the next question. And for me, the end product, I don't care what they do, and this is where stats sometimes I disagree with. You can give all the passes and whatever else. I do think sometimes it's a bit unfair on those players because I think the attacking players get looked at a little bit more intensely than the midfielders and the defenders do. And in a City team, we are so fluid that the ball gets moved sideways, left, right, holding possession, moving it around purely to move their team around. And sometimes I think some of the defensive midfielders and things get dragged in. So does a Bernardo, so does a Foden, so does a KDB, so does other players. But I still think the end product for an attacking midfielder needs to stack up. It needs to stack up. And you can go into XGs and all sorts of stuff. The end product needs to stack up. And I do think there are certain players who get a little bit of a rough time and their end product is decent. And there are others that their end product isn't very good, but get a nice ride from City fans, in my opinion.
I would say, though, on that, Andy, I know what you're saying, but to totally dismiss that Bernardo hasn't got quite an important role within the team is a bit disingenuous. You just said that he plays the same role as Sterling. Does not play the same role.
No, I never once said he plays the same role as Sterling.
You just said
No, I didn't. I said they're all attacking players. I said Bernardo versus Sterling. I said KDB, Foden, Bernardo Silva. Don't tell me Bernardo Silva is a deep-lying defensive midfielder.
I never said he was.
Well, then he's an attacking player.
I think we're getting lost in the semantics here.
Yeah, it's an agenda. It's another agenda.
Oh, come on, Chris. Stop being a bellend.
You're being a bellend, mate.
You are. You're being a knobhead. I never mentioned Bernardo. I mentioned players in an attacking role. Is he an attacker or is he a defensive midfielder then? Answer me the question.
His role in our team is to provide a lot of passes.
What is it? What is it?
What is it? Are you going to let me speak or are you going to just speak over me? Stop being a bellend, right? So what I'm saying is his job is to take the ball and provide, right? And is to press. That is not something that Sterling is so good at. Now, I'm not saying that that's because he doesn't have the same role in the team as Bernardo. And Bernardo
So tell me which position Bernardo was played in the last 10 games. I'm assuming he's taking the ball forward from a deep line midfield role.
Yeah, he's taking the ball forward, but he's also
what's his role?
His role is to.
Where's he played in the last 10 games?
You're going to let me speak, or are you just going to carry on over talking to try and prove a point?
No, I'm asking you.
Shut up then. So what I'm saying is his role is to be the first man to lead that press. So if you saw what he did in the Dortmund game, which I saw in the ratings you refused to see, was that he was lying deeper in the start of that game, and Hummels was able to bring that ball out and provide deliberate passes and put the team under pressure further up the field.
I'm not asking for analysis on the Dortmund game. I'm saying, where does he play?
He plays all over the pitch because he is our pressing player. He leads the press. When he wasn't leading the press at the start of that Dortmund game, we were struggling. When he was pushed further up the field, he changed. He changed the whole game.
So where was he playing in the Dortmund game then?
He was playing as the sort of at the bottom of the diamond of the midfield, and then he was pushed further.
Of the diamond. So who were the diamond then?
Well, he had Rodri, KDB, Gundogan, and Bernardo. All mixing. It was very fluid. But Bernardo's role is to lead the press. That is not Sterling's job. Sterling's job is basically to provide assists and score goals, and that's what he does. That isn't Bernardo's role. Isn't to get as high up the field as a Sterling or a Gabby or a Mahrez.
So he's not an attacking player then?
He is an attacking player, but his main role in the side is for him to provide a lot of defensive cover high up the pitch.
What in your opinion then? What does Rodri and Fernandinho do then?
They are defensive midfielders.
What does Kevin De Bruyne do then?
Everything.
Okay. What does Gundogan do then?
Gundogan is I think Gundogan knits a lot together, mate. And I think Gundogan this season has, added that element of getting further afield and scored some exceedingly important goals. But again, with Gundo, he's had a season where he hasn't really struggled with injury, and we've seen probably the best of him. I think he's been fantastic, and he has, probably gone beyond the front line to get those goals, which I think is something we've not seen from him since he's come to see.
Okay, all right. Okay. Anyone else want to jump in?
Not on that bit. No, not really.
That'll lead us nicely on to the next question then, which is Chris's.
Okay, so this might be even more touchy subject. I don't know. So I hope we don't get it too much fuss. So let's have a go. So when Raz is playing in form, he is an excellent footballer, devastating. But when he's bad, he's wasteful, and probably out of all the City players I've seen in my lifetime, right up there as one of the most frustrating. Raz is currently the second highest earner in the league, and as we know, this summer he's going to be having an improved contract. And my question really is he worthy of an improved contract? And I say that because as Kevin is our highest earner, he's a consistent performer. He was genuinely, in my opinion, a world-class player. His player ratings, when we see on the shows, he's generally in the top 3, game in, game out. He might come back after injury. Those first couple of games, it takes him a couple of games to get back to where he's at, but he's consistently seen by City fans as a one of our best players. Our third highest earner is Kun, but as we know, he's leaving. And then the next 2 players after that are Fernandinho and Bernardo, who get half the wage of Raz. So, as we know, if we lose Fernandinho and especially Kun, then Raz will be earning twice as much as our third best player. City won't bring in a player on £1 million a week like the press like to make out that we do. As we saw with players, we bring a player in. If he performs at City, he gets an improved contract fairly quickly. So that's my point. We're not going to bring somebody in on that. I don't think on £300,000-400,000 a week, unless it's Mbappe, and I think he's clearly worth it. So where I'm going with this, really with Raz, is my recollection of the Raz and Sterling era was that's probably the most exciting and devastating football that Manchester City ever played. As we know, Sterling Salner got injured last season, and we saw Sterling stuck out on the left-hand side. Since moving there, his goal-scoring record is actually very good. He scored 20 Premier League goals last season, which is a fantastic return for a winger. But it wasn't really how I recollect his form from last season. I went to most games last season, and I thought he had a bit of a lean spell in it. And when I looked at his goal scoring stats for that season, he scored 5 goals in the first 3 games. The next 28 games, he scored 7. He missed 5 of those games, by the way. And in the last 7, he scored 8. And that's how in my mind, how I remember last season, that he got off to a flyer and then was a bit disappointed for 5 months, in and out, form-wise. Then lockdown happened and he came back on fire, finished off the season really well. And this season he's been a bit patchy. He's got, I think, 9 goals from a wing is decent in the Premier League. I think you can't knock that. If he scores a couple more, I think it'd be a decent season goal-scoring wise. But of late, we've seen him sort of not be part of the team so much. And he after the loss at the Etihad to United, he's become a peripheral figure, only starting against Everton in the FA Cup and in the Leeds game. And in those last 3 games that he has started, from our player ratings, he's been the second worst player, according to the subscribers on the channel. All this while, he's supposed to be going into an improved contract. So now I think, you've got to accept that every player has a drop in form. It's unrealistic to expect it. And I want to know from you guys, do you think Raz is unfairly criticised? And maybe I've been a bit too critical at times of him. I don't see him as myself as a Raz hater. Do you think his form's too inconsistent to be considered City's most valuable player? Or is Pep making a statement by leaving him out so often at the business end of the season? Because this poor run of form all comes since the newspapers made out, which both Pep and Raz have denied, that they had a falling out. So I'd like to know what your thoughts on Raz receiving an improved contract are. So, Kurt, I'll go to you first, mate.
Sterling obviously is going to a guy that always brings a lot of debate with him for a lot of valid reasons and a lot of invalid reasons. I think obviously with the breakdown of the stats I gave you earlier, he was actually, if you look at the aggregated score, the ranking joint not the best in most of the categories. I think the main reason we haven't seen him selected in the Champions League is I think he loses the ball more than Phil and Mahrez do, and keeping the ball is what Pep loves to do, and it's what's cost us in the Champions League. So I think that's why he's not selected in those games. For me, in regards to the contract situation, it's a really tough one because I think over his contract with us since he came in 2015, right? I'm not talking about 2015 he came in. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm right about that. Yeah. 2015. Sorry, I thought I took myself then. It's all right.
I thought it was a rhetorical question.
No. I was thinking in my head. I didn't want to get the numbers wrong. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2015. So he's been here 6 years. He's been a credit to us. He's improved a lot over those times. I think Tyrone makes a great point. I think Mikel Arteta leaving has stifled his development a little bit because Mikel Arteta was obviously very influential. He obviously spoke about it many times. But I'd just like to mention to you guys. I know people give Raz a lot of grief about stuff. And whatnot about not doing it in big competitions and he misses and all this. I just want to say to you guys that he's our second highest all-time goal scorer in continental competitions behind Sergio. Second highest of all time. And he's the joint second highest goal scorer in knockout phases all time with Kevin De Bruyne and Gabby Jesus. Only Sergio's above them. So are these the numbers of someone who struggles to put away chances in a Champions League game? Obviously, we know he misses chances. We know that's what Sterling does. But let's not. I think it's so easy to forget what an absolute talent he is. So for me, give him the contract. I know he hasn't been the greatest forms, but you got to think about it logically. If we don't give him the contract, he could get into a position where he leaves for nothing at a good age, and we don't ever want to be in that position as a club. So yeah, really long-winded way of saying. It's fine. But that's the reason I think we should give him a new contract, because let's not forget how important he's been to Manchester City. Because I think people overlook it. Him and Kevin De Bruyne came same year, and they're for me just as important as each other.
Cool, mate. Thank you, Nick.
He's on the mute, mate.
I'll tell you. The mute error, beginner's error.
We've all done that, mate. We've all done that.
I did that for like 5 minutes, mate.
I'm with Kurt. I think we should give him a new contract. I think he's deserved it. He's going through some bad form. Agree. It's a bit of an odd one because I think certainly recently when I watched him, and even when playing for England, he appears to have in the darting world is called dartitis. And I don't know if you know what that is, but basically, I think Eric Bristow went through it in the 80s where he was untouchable, and then suddenly he got this dartitis, which it's a fear of letting go of the dart. And I think Raheem's got the football version of dartitis at the moment, and I don't know. He's got the yips. That's it. The yips. That's it. And I think that's what I see at the moment. I see him, he does all the hard work, and then it gets let down with a bit of a moment of madness where he doesn't know what he's doing. He's suddenly found himself in the box and he doesn't know what he's meant to do. So I think there's a form issue there. And we can be worried about that, but I don't think it's a great worry because he's gone through that in the past and he's overcome that. He's a talented boy. We know that. We know what he's capable of. I think he can change games, and I think at the moment Pep's managing him correctly. I know he's come out in the press recently to say that Foden and Mahrez are playing better than him at the moment, and I think he's done that on purpose to really sort of let Sterling know, that he's been noticed. But I think he's gone on record today and complimented him to give him that confidence, and I think it's natural. I think it's natural that he's going to go through this run of poor form. It's not come at the right time of the season for City fans, but luckily we've got players that are doing the business for us. So yeah, I'll give him a contract. I think he deserves it. I wouldn't want to see him go to another Champions League side because inevitably that would happen. Because he's good enough to play for the top sides in Europe. And I think the competition he's getting from Foden is going to do him the world of good. And I think we'll see a different Sterling over the next 3 or 4 games because I think he will be involved in some way, shape, or form.
You make an absolutely fantastic point there, Nick, that I just want to follow up on in the competition thing, because obviously the last time we saw him have a competition was when Sane was there, and if Sane wasn't playing, Raheem would go over to the left, and that's when a lot of the angle of people going, oh, we want Raz on the right. But since Sane left, Raz has been the lone man, having really no one. Like Mahrez is left-footed, Bernardo's left-footed, Foden left-footed, but none of them are really natural left wingers. But Foden's been able to pip him out and take that first spot, and it's really the first time in Raz's career at City where he's not been the main man on either the right or the left. So I think you make an absolutely fantastic point there, mate.
Cheers, Andy.
You know my thoughts on this. I've said it 1,000 times, and I do. It's not a Bernardo Raz thing. It isn't, even though we've had loads of debates on this thing. It isn't. I just. We talked about stats before. The stats baffle me how anybody, if you're talking about watching with your eyes, it is one thing. But if you're talking about contract for somebody and actually questioning whether, or not you, Chris, but I mean, people questioning on social media about a contract, not you, because that was what your question was all about. You only have to look at the stats, and I would take the stats, output stats, every day of the week. Raheem over Bernardo Silva every day of the week. If anyone, for me, should be on the market, it's Bernardo Silva if we need money. I love Bernardo Silva, but if we need money, Bernardo Silva goes on the market every day of the week for me over Raheem Sterling. Every day. Raheem Sterling, this is this season's stats. 41 games, 13 goals, 11 assists, played 3,078 minutes. Riyad Mahrez, 41 games, same as Raz. He's got 2 less, 11 goals. He's got 4 less assists, 7 assists, and he's got more minutes. So Bernardo Silva, 38 games, 5 goals and 7 assists, and played 200 minutes less than Raheem and Mahrez. And Foden has got 41 games, 13 goals, 9 assists. Out of all of them, Bernardo Silva, out of Foden, Mahrez and Raheem Sterling, is nowhere near. And we only saw in the Leeds game, his finishing was bloody awful, absolutely awful. He needs to be doing far more. Now, you might say, well, everyone was complaining about 18 months Bernardo Silva has not been good since the Ben Mendy tweet. All right, let's go to last season. 52 games for Raheem Sterling, 31 goals, 10 assists, 3,987 minutes. And I'll put these up here, actually, because I did put some things. There you go. There's Raheem Sterling's stats. That's for 2021. So 41 games, 13 goals, 11 assists, 3,078 minutes. This is Mahrez' stats for this season. 41 games, 11 goals, 7 assists. This is Foden's stats for 2021. 41 games, 13 goals, 9 assists. This is Bernardo Silva for this season. Oh, well, missed that one out there.
Was that self on purpose?
No, I know. It's not come up there. But I can read it out. 5 goals. 5 goals and 7 assists. 5 goals and 7 assists. It's fucking shocking. It's awful. He scored 1 more goal than John Stones. 1 more goal than John Stones. So don't give me this whole, well, he plays in this role and this. He's an attacking midfielder. 2020, Raheem Sterling. 52 games, 31 goals, 10 assists. Riyad Mahrez, 50 goals, 13 goals, 50 games, 13 goals, 16 assists, 3,149 minutes. Phil Foden in 20, 8 goals, 9 assists in 38 games. Bernardo Silva, 8 goals and 10 assists. Less than any of them. Raheem in 2019, 25 goals and 18 assists. Mahrez in 19, 12 goals and 12 assists. Bernardo Silva in 19. You can bring it up. It comes up. No, it's not coming up for some reason. Somebody's blocking me. Yeah, somebody is blocking me.
It ain't me, mate. I'm not fiddling.
Not me.
Okay. Well, they're not coming up. But anyway, I'll remove that then. Foden's. But Foden, 2019, 7 goals, 2 assists. The only game in 2019, he had 13 goals and 14 assists. That was the season he was Premier League player, or Man City's Premier League player of the season. Since then, he scored 8 goals, and then this season, 5 goals, 7 assists and 10 assists in 2.5 years. His stats are absolutely nowhere near Foden's, Mahrez, or Raheem Sterling's. Yet people have this agenda against Raheem Sterling. And yet, so far this season, Raheem Sterling has scored 8 goals more and has got 4 more assists and has played 104 minutes more than Bernardo Silva. There you go. So for me, if anybody in this team deserves a contract, Raheem Sterling does. If anybody should be worrying about their position in the team next season, if stats are so important, Bernardo Silva should be, because he's two years. He's not been great. Since that Mendy tweet, it's only the last couple of games he's played well. He's been garbage for 18, 19, 20 months. And yet people talk about Raheem Sterling, who has scored 44 goals in the last 2 seasons. And when the season's not even finished yet, 44 goals and got 21 assists. In the last 2 seasons, Bernardo Silva scored 13 goals and got 17 assists. Absolute madness for me. Give him a contract all day long. He won't be on anywhere near what Kevin De Bruyne is on. Nowhere near. Because he wasn't before. So
he's not far off, Andy.
He was.
He's about 50. Yeah, but Kevin De Bruyne has just signed his own contract that gives him a higher salary and less bonuses.
Well, he also didn't have to pay agent fees or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but Raheem Sterling's now his own agent.
For me,
he's got rid of Eddie Ward. Sterling's looking after himself as well. So he's doing the same thing as Kevin De Bruyne.
So can I ask you a question back then, Andy? So regarding the Bernardo and Raz thing, has Pep got it all wrong by picking Bernardo in this last sort of 8 games?
Well, Bernardo's played 38 games so far in total, and Raheem's played 41 games. So
no, I'm talking in recent.
He's played more games.
And the beast.
But that's like saying, well, what happened about 3-4 months ago, and what happened about this?
It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do you think Pep's got it wrong then by playing Bernardo in this business end of the season more than he is playing Raz?
Yeah, but I thought he's not playing. Bernardo's not. You said Bernardo's not playing as a right winger or a left winger.
It's not my question. I'm asking, Andy. I'm asking you. Do you think Pep's got it wrong by not playing Raz and playing Bernardo in this business end of the season? No,
I think Pep absolutely gets whatever Pep plays. Pep plays. I think it's absolutely spot on with what he does. I think. Are you asking me? Is Raz played well recently? No, I don't think he has. I don't think he's played well. The question, I thought your question tonight was about the contract for Raheem Sterling. I thought it was not about whether he's played well.
No, my point on this is then, okay, so who has been our best player this season?
Ilkay Gundogan and Ruben Diaz.
And where would you put Raz in the list of who's been our best player this season?
Without listing them, 8th, 9th, 10th.
So he's not our second most valuable player at this season, is he? So should he be getting?
What? So if you have 5 or 6 games or 8 games where you're not very good, well, okay. If you score 5 goals and 7 assists, if Bernardo's contract was up right now, do you think he deserves an extended contract to be right up there? Anywhere near the goals and assists that Raheem Sterling has had the last 3 years.
But then
he's nowhere near. Nowhere near.
No, he isn't.
It's miles apart. It's miles.
Absolutely.
Apart.
But this goes back to Kurt's question of throwing up stats to prove a point. And what I'm saying is, Come on.
Even everyone on social media and everyone in here has turned around and said Bernardo Silva's been crap for the last 2 years.
Read the comments.
Come on.
Everyone's saying you cannot judge Bernardo in the same way as Sterling. Everyone's saying
so you can't judge Bernardo since the Mendy tweet. Nobody's allowed to judge the Bernardo after the Mendy tweet. He's been great since the Mendy tweet.
I think
which was 18 months ago. 18 months ago.
I think we all would agree Bernardo had a disappointing last season. I think he's been all right this season. He's done fine.
I never said he wasn't. I never said Bernardo's not been great this season. I never said that. I'm just saying you're talking about Raz in a period of 3 to 6 months, but Bernardo has been garbage for 18 months. But now suddenly Raz is awful, yet he scored 31 goals and 13 assists last year. Now all of a sudden for few months is garbage.
I think you're misconstruing what I'm saying, Andy, a little bit.
I think we're getting away from the essence of the question, which is like when you're talking about deserving a contract. For example, Raheem Sterling's been here for 6 years. Yeah, for me personally, when giving contracts to players, I look at 3 things. Just for me as a fan: the age of the player, how long they've played at the club, and what are they going to offer if we extend the contract. For me, Sterling has provided, like I said, second highest goal scorer in all European competitions, all time for City. Joint second knockout goals all time for Europe for City. I think the work that he's done over the 5 years since he's been here is warrant of why, even if he's having a disappointing thing, it's the same reason Bernardo got his bump in contract when he had a disappointed 6 months, because you looked at the workload he'd done previously when he came, the age and what he'd offer us in the future, and that's the reason he's given the contract.
He's
bringing it back to
Here's a question for you then. When Bernardo's contract is, I don't know what he's got left. Do you think City will sign him? Do you think City will sign him to another massive big bumper contract that will put him anywhere near Sterling, De Bruyne,
realistically,
or
Andy,
others, how will they give him another 5 years?
Realistically, Andy, he would have already had a bumper because what we, you know as well as I do, what we do is every year or 18 months,
Well,
if the form suggests. He got his first bumper after the really good season, which everyone would agree. And they obviously haven't given him a bumper in the meantime because they don't feel he's warranted a bumper. And when it comes up to the 2-year mark and you talk about negotiations, that's when you assess what he's done over the last period from when you originally signed the contract. So I think it's about a discussion point of where you're going at and what your values are when you're looking to sign these players. For me, retaining the assets, the most important thing with Sterling. He's an exceptionally large asset to the club. So we need to retain that. And what the service he's done for our club, I think he's done really well for our club. He's provided us a lot of great memories and great times. So I think he warrants the contract. Debate about how much he should be on, that's down to the club financial guys. It's none of our business.
I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about money.
Because for me, I don't care. I'm not the financial guys. The club aren't going to give him a contract they don't think he's worth. They wouldn't do that. So, but like I said, for me, the main issue with the contract with Sterling is about retaining the asset, and I think we definitely need to lock him down.
I agree with you. I mean, I agree. I'm not talking about money and whatever else.
Yeah, of course not, because we're not involved in that.
The question was about a contract.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That wasn't the question. It was an improved contract. How do you feel about him getting an improved contract?
Well, he's not going to say. He's never going to sign a contract for the same money as he's on, Chris. Come on. I mean, Jesus.
Oh no.
He's only going to sign a contract if he's on more money.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Is that not just common sense?
Well, yeah, I would say that is, but I don't think my point is that the difference between the Kevin De Bruyne wage down to the Raz wage down to the next player wage is significant.
It's, like I said to you, Chris, that's down to locking down the asset. Kevin De Bruyne is 30 and we've gotten to 35. Raz is 26, 27 or whatever, right? So that's the difference when you're looking at it for the contracts. I agree with you when you talk about does he deserve a massive bumper in money based on his performances over the last 6 months. You'd probably say no, but I don't think you just look at it like that. I think you've got to go more holistically and think what he's provided for the club, what he's going to offer in the future, how much he's worth if he wants to leave and we have him under a good contract, what he's going to be worth on the open market. I think those are all the things you've got to take into consideration when we look at getting that contract done. For me, anyway.
Okay, cheers, mate. Martin?
I agree.
He's done well there, Martin. Staying quiet. Go on, mate.
I totally forgot where we're even up to now. Right, so does Sterling deserve? Is it a contract or an improved contract?
How do you feel about him? It's not about deserving. It's whether you think how you feel about him getting an improved contract.
When you say improved contract, do you mean wages? I'm presuming.
Mainly.
No, it is. I've listened to what everyone just said, and there's two debates in there. Does he deserve a new contract? Yeah. Is the wages on an issue? Yeah. For me, is he playing like a £300,000, which will be more? No, he's not. Not a cat and house chance. Is he playing double to the wage that Bernardo Silva is on? Plus, he'll go on more. Not a chance right now. So there's two sort of debates in there anyway with it. Stats, as Kurt said, going back to that, they are totally misleading. And Andy might remember what I did. Me and Andy did loads of videos last year outside that stadium. And I'm talking the night before lockdown. And we came out week after week going, Sterling, Pep must be trying to play Sterling back into confidence. I don't know if you remember that, Andy, when we said it. We did say, I think I said it on a fan cam. If you look last year, he scored 31 goals, which on paper is brilliant. Then get into the stats. He scored 6 goals in 7 months. Is that a 300 grand a week player for you? That's where there's two debates going on. He scored 5 in the opening 3 games. And then he scored 6 from September, the middle of September, right up until we locked down on March the 8th. Scored 6 goals in the league. And then as soon as lockdown reopened and we went back to normal, he scored a bag full of hat tricks. And then he went amazing. He literally had 6-7 months where even being in the stadium, fans were going, why is he not being dropped or rested? So I love Sterling. I've said it before on the channel. I think Sterling could be world class. I think Pep's come out today with a quote. He's got a confidence issue. Big Style got a confidence issue right now, and he needs to get his confidence up. Right now, Pep has said Foden and Mahrez are ahead of him. They're doing more than him right now. This is Mahrez. This is Foden on 20. Well, some say 12, some say 20, and now they're looking at an improved £100,000 a week contract. This is the issue, I think, with Raz. I love Raz. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he could be world class. Is he worth 300? He's on 300 now. He will be bumped again with a new contract. So you are looking, and if Bernardo doesn't, he's potentially going to be on nearly 200 grand more than Bernardo. So you would expect a 200 grand a week more performance, really, wouldn't you, out of him? But like Kurt said, that's down to the club then, isn't it, though? The club do the finances, the club look at it and think who's worth the money, who's not, and whether, you know, is Sterling getting a bit more money because the money he brings in off the field and his name. Mm-hmm. I remember watching Raz for England in Blackpool, and I can't remember. I think it was in, and I tell you what, the hate he got. These are not City fans. These are England fans walking out the pub saying they won't watch England whilst it was when Sterling was going through his absolute. He couldn't get a cow's house for the band job. And I just think, does he deserve a new contract? Yes, because like Kurt said, he's a massive asset to the club, and he could be brilliant and world class. But then you look at the actual wages, and then you think, is he worth more than double the next? Once Kun goes, is he then worth double the next highest paid player down? But I don't. That's a different debate.
Well, I think seniority, things like that, come into wages as well. Like certain players don't
nearly
get
200 grand a week more.
That's not what I'm saying, is it? What I'm saying is when Fernandinho and Sergio leaves, him and KDB are the leaders. They're the ones who've been here the longest. They're the ones who've done it all, apart from in the Champions League. You know, so it's going to reflect that in their wages. That's just common sense for me. I can agree with you. What the price point of the contract is, like, I'm not going into it. I don't know. It's just not a point of contention for me. It's a yes or no for me with the contract, and I think it's 100% yes.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think some fans debate on Sterling because of the wages. They're looking. It's
not my job, mate.
And they're expecting.
Wilfred Boney got paid a cosmic belly full, mate, and he was bobbins. So you know what I mean. Earn your bread. Earn your bread. Right. If you're going to pay you, that's it.
We'll let Nick have his say. Before Nick comes in, I just want to put some stats at you, seeing as though the last question was about stats. I've just added them up here. The last 3 years, Kevin De Bruyne has played 8,240 minutes for Man City. Raheem Sterling has played 10,550, so he's played 2,300 more. Yeah? KDB, it was our biggest earner, and everyone's going, oh, well, should Sterling be anywhere near what Kevin De Bruyne is on? And, you know, it's this, that, and the other. Considering Kevin De Bruyne's age compared to Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne in the last 3 years has scored 30 goals and got 50 assists. Raheem Sterling has scored 69 goals and got 39 assists. Over to you, Nick.
I think I made my point earlier. I just feel that we've got to snap him up. And when we talk about wages, there's two purposes why we have high wages for these, and it's because they are commodities. You know, and as you pointed out there, Andy, with your stats, Sterling's a stat leader essentially. Now, I know you might look, you know, if you really delve into that and really mine into that data, you might find that perhaps a lot of those goals and assists were against poor opposition. Yeah. We don't know that. But on the face of it, you know, those are really good stats. And as I say, you know, I think a lot of players go through periods of you know, poor performance. You talk about Bernardo. There's some argument there that he might have gone through 12, 18 months of that, and we've kind of let that go a little bit. probably more than we're allowed to let go with Sterling. And that might be because of his importance to the side, because he's, from those stats, it's clear that he is integral to the side. And when he isn't playing well, it's very obvious. So for me, yeah, we've got to give him a contract. We will give him the contract. It's as simple as that.
We have to, even if we're going to sell him next year. We have to sign him up for an extended 3 years or something like that. Because if we're going to sell him, we want to sell him with that. Well, we've signed him up for 5 years. And
we're not Arsenal. We're not going to have our big players run out of contracts. It's not going to happen.
And it's irrelevant of whether we like Sterling, we don't like Sterling. We like Bernardo, we don't like Bernardo. We like Mahrez, we don't like Mahrez. It's about what the club needs to do financially. And Kurt made that point. We need to sign him up. We need to get him if he's on a 5-year contract, and then, for all we know, Pep might be going, get him on an extended contract for another 3 years. Right, okay, in the summer, we've signed him up. Right, in the summer, we can tout him out. Is a 5-year contract. It's going to be 150 million quid. That's what the 5-year contract brings if we're going to be put on the market. And Sterling knows that he's going to get a massive signing on fee rather than what he does, or blah blah blah. It just makes sense to sign him up. It just does. But anyway, go on, Martin. Sorry.
No, sorry. And listen, you know what I'm like for me, rumours and me, everything else, innuendo. I just find it so interesting. Stop waving you. Really interesting. No one's mentioned it since. You remember the story about 6-7 weeks ago of Pep and Sterling falling out? And everyone said, oh, it's bullshit. Mate. No, I know, but you're going to do it. I knew you were going to do that. But he's not been in the team since.
Oh, come on.
Is that just coincidence?
Oh, come on.
Coincidence.
He's not been playing well. He hasn't deserved to be starting.
On merit, he's not in the starting 11.
It's not.
It's that simple.
It's not on merit. And I agree with Kurt and agree with Chris and agree with everyone else. I don't think he's playing well at the moment. I just don't think he is. I don't think there's anything.
The biggest coincidence going, then that story broke. And he's not been in the team since.
Who broke that? Who broke it?
It was in all
that story.
All over Sam Lee had it, Independent had it.
Sam Lee, there you go.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying, though, sometimes 2 and 2 does make 4. The story broke. No, but the story broke.
Whether it's true or not true, we're not going to know. It's irrelevant to discuss.
It is. It's nonsense.
No, and like I said, you should get a contract. My issues with the wages. Because if I ain't pulling my job at work, they're not giving me a wage increase. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but you don't get Gillette adverts. You don't have all the brand deals that Razaz does.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Maybe he should. Maybe he should. Maybe
300 grand a week players don't go 7 months and score 2 goals.
What, you're not paying it, neither am I. Who cares? I don't care.
But you're looking at a name. Look, this is what I mean. People, stats are irrelevant sometimes. Stats are for
I don't even know what you're talking about, mate. What's the next topic?
They're not irrelevant. They're not stats are not irrelevant because
last year.
Yeah, no, but because why are Chelsea fans having apoplectic bloody episodes about Timo Werner?
Exactly.
You know, he's a good player. He is a good player. He did really good in the Bundesliga. Yeah, but it don't make any difference if he's not getting the numbers. You don't buy a striker, you don't buy a winger, you don't buy an attacking midfielder, you don't buy whatever. They don't produce the numbers. All right, Bruno Fernandes is an anomaly because he dives everywhere and wins penalties and scores loads of penalties. We know that. But, you know, you buy the players to get your numbers. The numbers, it doesn't matter if you have 25 shots a game and score 1. If you win 1-0 or 2-0, you're still on the score sheet. Yeah, you might, as a fan, go, should have scored 3 tonight. Phil Foden should have banged in 3 goals last week.
In the first leg.
Three easy goals. He was bloody finishing was garbage. But he scored us the winner, and he did the other night. So, I mean, it's all swings and roundabouts. All that you can look at the game, and I know people will say, Well, yeah, but he played well in that position. I'm talking about the attacking players. Stats will prove stuff. Otherwise, Ronaldo does cock all game, yet still scores 600-700 goals in his career. Messi does nothing most of the game, but when he's on the ball, he makes things happen and does something and scores. It's not running. I mean, they made a point the other night. I think it was in the Dortmund game. They said on BT Sport, Bellingham. Of course, they were all about Bellingham, weren't they? 17 years of age, like we've never heard he's 17 before. And they were saying 6.6 kilometers he's running this first half. The next player, they said, the next player behind him is Rodri, 6.4 kilometers. I'm thinking, it's 0.2 of a kilometer. Well, you're making a big deal about Bellingham, who is an attacking box-to-box player, against a CDM who was only done 0.2 of a kilometre less. So Rodri, does that mean Rodri now? We should be giving him Rodri. Rodri runs more than anyone else on the pitch. Let's give him a massive big contract because he deserves it because he runs more. It's like, come on. But anyway, right, we are nearly 2 hours into it's been I knew that one was going to be heated between me and Chris. It was always going to be, because we've had this debate about Sterling, Bernardo, and it wasn't meant to be about Sterling and Bernardo. But Chris has his thoughts, I have my thoughts, and I think the way our personalities are, we're not going to back down from it, and that's the way it is. No, absolutely. My point, and that's the way it should. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Friday Night Socialists. If we were in a pub, we would be going, "No, I disagree. Piss off. I don't care what you say," and that's the way it is. But everyone else has their comments.
Yeah, and my point on Sterling, really, Andy, is that he is an exceptionally good player. And like I say, when he played on the right, Sane on the left, Guerrero through the middle, is the best City team I think I've ever seen. And we're not playing that style of football anymore, that's for sure. But
no.
My concern about it is when you look at the actual wage at City is that Kevin and Raz are quite a lot higher up than everybody else, apart from Kun, who's going. And Kevin never gets dropped because his form doesn't drop to the extent. Whereas Raz will play 10, and then he'll have a 3
I agree
game.
that. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where my point is value to team. Now, you can't say he hasn't got any value to him. That's absolutely ridiculous. He scored lots and lots of goals, and he assists a lot. But like we saw against Dortmund at the end of that game, he came on a great position for him to do something. And as Nick has said, he got the yips. And we can all have a laugh about it because that's where Raz is. If it was 1-0 to Dortmund at the time and they were going through, we'd be going mental. You know what I mean? And that's just part of being a fan. So if he stays, I'm not going to be upset. If he stays, I'm sure he'll come back to form and he'll win us lots of games. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always going to be interesting debating players, because like I said, I think it was said earlier, I think Kurt said it's subjective when you come to certain players. But I mean, people say, and Martin is one, you, Chris, I think I may be wrong, so don't hold me to that. It's like Raheem should be on the right. Well, if everyone's going Mahrez is so good on the right, are we going to displace Mahrez, who's been in great form of late? And then do we put him on the left? I mean, I've always called for Mahrez. Go shove him on the left with his left foot. He's got a brilliant cross. Let's go and see what he does on the left. But we never see him on the left. And now we've got Foden, who is just phenomenal. Absolutely.
Remember all those
phenomenal.
months ago, I said he'll be played out on the left wing, and that's where he should play. Just a genius.
He is.
What's that? Are you talking about Foden?
Yeah, remember months ago when I was saying that I reckon he'll get stuck out on the left wing? No one remembers that.
No. We're talking more. We're talking more about Foden should be loaned out.
Oh yeah.
Hang on a minute. If we're going on stats and history, Aguero would get a 5-year contract. So let's not go down that road.
Hey, some of us still would, Martin. Leave him alone.
Mate,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
what's
Bloody
next up
hell.
for us then?
He's more sick than Darren Anderton.
If you don't know Nick, last summer, Martin said...
No, I didn't. Let him go.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
No,
he did. He did. Martin said last summer, Foden's not getting enough game time. Pep should just send him out on loan. That's it. He should go on loan. He's not going to get enough game time at City.
Are you Neil Custis in disguise, Martin?
Neil Custis. Oh, you Neil. Oh, you Neil. Oh, you Neil in disguise.
All right, Raheem's agent up there.
He did say it. He did say that.
Hang on. All right, then. I said last summer, this summer's gone, maybe, I'd look at selling Bernardo. You had to go at me and went bullshit, and you've just said it 10 minutes ago.
Martin's got a list bigger than Santa, mate. Don't you worry about that.
There you go. Year one says, "Oh yeah, Foden needs to go on loan next season." Mate, they are. He remembers.
Martin's got more players on the selling list than the keeping list.
I think the thing with Foden.
Sorry. I said Sergio would be gone.
Hey,
So I'm not been wrong on any of them gone yet, have I?
Well. According to Ross, watch my first stream, Kurt, about Foden. Martin wasn't having it. Laugh out loud. There you go.
I remember it, mate. I remember it.
There you go. Thanks.
You know how much,
Charlie. Ronnie says, "Hey up, Martin's arms are up in the air." Laugh out loud. Still waiting for 5 players, Martin. Yeah,
all right,
there you go.
Hey, listen,
Still waiting
talking about agendas. He's got the agenda on Fernandinho. Never spell it. Run round at 94 years old. Absolute hashtag bellend. Hashtag bellend, I'm telling you. Hashtag agenda.
So what's next on the list?
Listen. We are going to have a quick break for 5 minutes. Nick, it's your question next, mate, and that's all about. It's going to be really interesting this one because look at him. We can give him some shit. We can give him some absolute shit. Somebody who absolutely hated this player, Zinchenko. And the next question when we come back in 5 minutes is by Nick, and it's all about the fall and rise of Alexander Zinchenko. And look at him. Look at him in the corner. I can't wait for this one. I cannot wait for this. This was somebody who absolutely slated him. Before
last season.
But no, he wasn't. Before we go for a break.
All right, I've got all the games.
Shush. Sir Alan's on. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're well in Melbourne, mate. Great debate. Good point. Sterling does not justify an increase in his wages, but does deserve an extension. There you go. He hates Raheem Sterling. He absolutely hates him.
I'm flabbergasted. I am absolutely flabbergasted.
He hates him. Hands up, baby, hands. There you go. Hashtag full of shite, says Ross. Tell them about Diaz, Martin. Quick, yeah. That's his comeback in. Hashtag justice for Martin. Martin, have we signed Koulibaly yet? There you go.
Pelters tonight.
Right,
Pelters.
we're gonna come back in a minute. But anyway, this is Andy from mcfcfantv. I will leave you. I haven't even put the thing in here tonight. I've been terrible, haven't I? I'll leave you with Raheem Sterling's stats on the screen from 2020. That's all I can do. But anyway, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. There's 111 people on. Thank you so much for your comments. We'll get to more of your comments back, but as you know tonight, 5 of us on. Nick's a new guest. He's probably thinking, why have I joined this stupid show? Because all it's been is arguments all night. That's the Friday Night Social. But anyway, take care. Come back. Don't go anywhere. We're not going anywhere. I'll put this guy's stats up and I'll get rid of these reprobates, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Hi guys, we're back. Sandy from mcfcfantv, and we're on to the next question. I'll bring the guys back in. We've got Chris back in now. He's got his Morettis, I'm sure. Kurt's back in. Nick is here. He's moved rooms. He's gone somewhere quieter because it's his question. And thank you everyone for all your comments tonight. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you agree, if you disagree, that's what it's all about. That's what the Friday Night Social is all about. But on to Nick's question, and this is about Zinchenko. So over to you, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I've moved rooms. My wife's just come in to tell me I'm being a bit loud. She do, so.
I get that every Friday Night Social.
Yeah,
so don't worry about it.
So that's great. Yeah, really. Yeah, I wanted to really sort of wax lyrical about a guy I call Lazarus, Alexander Zinchenko, who I think he's one of those Marmite players, and you know, so I get Martin might have said in the past that he perhaps didn't rate him in the past. But I just think, I mean, he came in for 1.5 million in 2016, very much under the radar. I didn't know much about him. I don't think many people knew much about him. We found him out on loan, went over across to Holland. And I just think gradually over time, I mean, I thought he played a lot more than 56 games, but he's played 56 games for City. But I can't remember many bad games. And I think he offers something that's a lot different. I know we play Cancelo at left back, and he's been a revelation when he's played across the midfield. So when he's joined the midfield, and that's normally happened when we've had a number 9, a traditional number 9 up front. We played Mendy, and we know what's happened with Mendy. He blows very cold rather than very hot. And I think Zinchenko adds something different because he's not as progressive as Cancelo in terms of picking the ball up and moving with it. But I think the other attributes he has got is he's very calm on the ball. His one touch is superb, whereas it might take Mendy 3 or 4 touches to control the ball and move the ball. I think he moves it very quickly. I think he's quite an intelligent player. When he's got the ball, he doesn't look like he's going to flap. He doesn't look like he's going to lose the ball. And I think some of the work that he's done with Foden over, certainly across this season, I think he's got a great relationship with Foden on the left. And I just feel that for 1.5 million, I think he's been an absolute steal. And I think going forward, I just want to see him. I just want Pep to see his potential and play him a lot more, because I think he's right in the position that he's in. I don't think he would get into the attacking midfield on a permanent basis. I think he's in the right position. He's been a revelation. He's turned him into that left back, which he's done before with Delph, as we know. And I think all credit. I think there's a lot of credit to go to Zinchenko, because around 18 months, 2 years ago, he could have gone to Wolves. Wolves had put in a firm offer, and he turned the offer down. He fancied himself. He backed himself, and I just think he's an unsung hero in the side. In the way that Zaba was all those years, he was an unsung hero. He's the kind of guy that you want in your side, that you know that you're going to get a solid 7 out of 10 every game, and I think we need that. And that's my case for Zinchenko to be a regular in the City side. So I just welcome any other comments on that.
Okay, well, we'll go to Kurt first. Kurt?
Well, Nick, obviously it's your first time on the channel, but I am a Zinchenko lover, is what they call it. A Zinchenko aficionado. Oli Zander Zinchenko. What a man. What a man. I've just got a lot to back up you, because he's a guy I absolutely love. He's someone. I got a lot of stick from a few guys on here saying I thought he had Zaba-esque qualities about him in terms of his grit and just what I know. Martin's flapping there, but I agree with you, Nick. I think he does show that. I think I'm going to go from the top. I might be rambling, so do cut me off if I'm going overboard. You know me. It's hard to hold back my love for the man, because I think he's just a great human being. We bought Zinchenko. I think it was just over. It was almost 19, 18 at the time. under 2 million. We made more money off his 2 loan phases to Holland than we did ever paying him. So we already made our money back from those 2 loans. Admittedly, horrific loans. He ended up in the second team of PSV, which is never, you don't want to be in their B team. That's never a good look. Came back to City. You're kind of like, well, we might do a pre-season and we sell him. You know, it's one of those. Came in for Delph against Swansea, 73 minutes. First time we saw him at left back. We're all like, Zinchenko playing left back, bit weird. Okay, we'll see what that happened. And then for obviously the rest of that season, he was basically just cover for Delph. Moves into the next season. I think he started the season injured, only made like 3 appearances in the first like 25 games. And then pretty much he played every game bar one of the remaining league games in 18-19. And I think that season, his performances were incredibly underrated. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Played all 90 minutes in the FA Cup final, all 120 minutes in the League Cup final, or the other way around. Played all of those. Went into 19-20. This was the arc, which is when Nick gets the term Lazarus. He got absolutely exposed in that Norwich loss where we lost 3-2. I'm sure you guys remember it. And the Wolves loss where we lost 2-0. He was absolutely awful in both of those games. Absolutely awful, and pretty much got binned off and was just used as a cover squad player. And then obviously going into this season with Cancelo, other options there, he's pushed them all out the way. Like Nick said, he refused to go to Wolves even when they accepted the bid. He said, I'm fighting for my place. And any geezer that got brought in that for a couple million that said he's going to fight for his place in City, not playing a natural position to him, I just think unbelievable amount of credit. I love you, Zinchenko. Please don't go. Sorry, I just needed to get it. As soon as someone else brought up Zinchenko, I didn't feel bad for it. It wasn't me bringing it up. Someone else did it.
No. Well,
what a
Ross
man.
said would probably have better stats than Bernardo in attacking midfield. Sir Alan, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. Great question. Go on, Martin. He's waiting for Martin to answer this one. So maybe we'll go to Martin next. Alec Johnson says, massively improved like Stones. Credit to Zinchenko for not giving up and proving himself, said Sean. Here we go. The hands, says Alan. Martin. Here you go. Alan is waiting for you to answer this one, mate. I wonder if we need to sign left back in the future. We're going to talk about that anyway. But go on, Kurt.
Before we go to Martin.
But in. Go on.
Stuttering, it's Friday, isn't it? And I text this guy. Remember when Zinchenko got brought out the cold for the Chelsea away game, and everyone was like, I texted him when I saw this. I started line. I said, "It's Zinky's time. He's going to prove us all wrong. He's the man." And what did we do that game? We won. Let's go. Come on, Zinky. Faith again. Let's go, Mark.
So Kurt is quite confident in.
I'm just fanboying, mate. I don't know what to do. I meet the guy live.
There you go, Martin. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Next question again.
I don't know. He's gone. He's gone. He's decided. He's decided the Zinchenko question is not for him. After everything he said about Zinchenko, so no, I'm only kidding. We'll bring him back in. Go on, mate. Over to you, Alexander Zinchenko. Your favourite player?
Don't know what you mean. Listen, on Nick's point and Kurt's point, on the price, yeah, he's done very, very well. He was absolute bargain. But I will say, and listen, I've been on, since I've come back to the channel, I did apologise to him, as I apologised to Stones, and I said he's had a very, very good season. But are we in a position where what my issue is here? We're going from A to Z. We've gone from A to Z, as people did with Cancelo. Cancelo had a few decent games, and suddenly he was the best right back in the world. And now he's gone back to can't defend anything at the moment, and he's gone back to his usual self. There's an old saying: "Form is temporary, class is permanent." Now, I'm not saying Zinchenko is not a bad player, but when I watched him for Ukraine, he looks like Messi. He can pass the ball 20, 30 yards. Very, very good.
So class is permanent then.
All right, I'll get to the point. Hang on, come to the point. For Man City, at times, he can't pass the ball 5 yards. A la Wednesday night. Nearly gave away. The Zinchenko we got.
I thought it was
Zinchenko we got on Wednesday night was Zinchenko of last season.
I thought it was decent.
And on Kurt's point, he said, didn't cost us. I could name you Southampton cost us the game with a stupid pass which allowed.
You're picking about one
Tottenham Hotspur
games.
Decided to rugby tackle the player in the middle of the pitch and get sent off. Cost us the game. The Manchester derby at the Swamp. I have never seen a more inadequate left back performance than that. And I was doing the watch along and went, oh my God. Sorry, but this season he's proved me wrong. I've never denied, but my issue is I want to see it for more than 7-8 months. If he does it next season, then fair play. Because we could say that the same about Manchester City. Last season, we were not great. This year, we're blowing everyone away. And Liverpool suddenly shit because they're down where they've gone. This is what I'm saying. People change. We don't know. I want to see Zinchenko do it over a consistent period of time. Not flip-flop from one bad season to a good season. We don't know where we're going from next season.
This is my point, Martin. This is my point. My point is he isn't getting a consistent run. And I think he deserves that because I think consistently over this season he's been our best left back.
But the thing with that, Nick, is if you go and look at his injury record, his times of injuries have not helped him because he's had layoffs for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. And they're always when he's been playing and starting. And as I said to you, the season in 18-19, after his injuries at the beginning of the season, he played every league game bar one. Played the FA Cup final, the League Cup final, you know?
But you know my big thing on the left back anyway. I think we need a natural, proper left back. I'm sick of round pegs and squared holes. Don't like it. And I would go out.
That's a different question, though, isn't it?
No, it is, but that's me. And my thing is with Zinchenko, as much as he has improved, in the summer, City accepted the offer.
Yeah, but what about the fact that we were moaning about wages and all this and carry on earlier? We've got a guy who can play 3 positions for us who's on like peanuts.
It says it here. Blue heart. Not bad for a player being asked to play totally out of position for the last 3 seasons. Fine.
But again, it's all right throwing all that. City were going to sell him. I'm not having to go.
I'm just putting the comments up.
City were going to sell him. You can shake your head. They accepted the offer.
And he said no, and he fought for his place, and they didn't want to sell him the season after, did they?
But let's not pretend then that at the time Pep sees him as the long-term left back because he clearly doesn't, because he agreed to sell him.
Well, the variables change, my friend. Mendy's performances.
So Sterling, would Pep accept money for Sterling and KDB right now?
It's just not.
You don't sell players you want to keep, Kurt.
It's not a tangible. They thought they were getting 25 million for a guy they bought for 2 million to get another left back, and it didn't happen.
It was 18 actually.
Mendy obviously proved he isn't up to scratch, and Zinchenko has, and that's the difference. When Zinchenko's been asked to do what he needs to do, he's done it. I've said on here to sell Mendy as well. I've said why people need a left back. I don't. When you say about him having like bad, I don't think he's ever had a bad season at City. I think he's ever. I think he's had bad games. He's never played more than 20 games, so you're not gonna know.
Kurt, I watched the games with my eyes. You're going back to stats again.
I'm not talking about stats. Eyes. I didn't bring up stats, not once.
Kurt, I've got eyes, and
I didn't bring up stats, mate. I was talking about the calendar years of the league they were playing in, mate. I didn't bring up any stats.
All right. So last season, are you telling me he had a decent season?
No, I said in 2019, he started the season at left back, got exposed in the Norwich game and the Wolves game before losing his position, but played much better in the second half of the season, starting to try and share the left back spot, and then going into this season, he's pretty much by the back end of the season, I'm pretty sure everyone would have him as our starting left back. That's what I said about him. I don't think he had a bad season. He got exposed.
No, I've not said he's not had a decent season. I've said I apologise to him. But I'm saying, do I see him as the long-term left back? No chance. I really don't.
I got you
It's
back,
like,
Zinky.
No, people will tell me about Gabby and all the goals and everything else. It's all opinions. People see things differently. Just because people see another player in another way doesn't make their opinion wrong and them right. It's just their opinion of him. That's all it is.
Of course.
All right, Chris.
I will not disagree with Martin. I don't think he had a great season last season, but then again, who did? City weren't great last season, but the season before that, he did a really good job for us, as did Delph before that. And Delph, when he played at left back the season after, he struggled. But what I'm seeing with Zinchenko now in this season, he's not getting caught out like he was getting caught out in previous seasons. I think he's learning that role. He's
not a centre back next to him.
Yeah, exactly.
No one ever mentions that about Zinchenko. No one ever mentions that about Zinchenko. He had Otamendi next to him.
Yeah, that's a great point in that respect. I actually think he's learned the position, and I think this season, he's been so consistent. I can't ever remember seeing a game that Zinchenko's played in and thought, poor. I can't think of one. I think he's been great. I agree. I think he was a little bit rash at the start of the Dortmund game. He played a couple of poor passes. We did get him away with them, but he didn't half grow into that game. And I just see him. I don't think we need a left back. I really don't. That's my opinion on it. I would rather spend the money on get a striker, and I've got quite a lot of faith in the lad. I've seen somebody say in the comments that they think Ben Mendy's a better left back. Well, you didn't watch the Leeds game then, because Ben Mendy was awful against Leeds. He needs a move for his own sake and his own career. Honestly, he completely neglected his duties in that game for me. Whereas Zinchenko doesn't do that, and I think he is probably our most improved player. I am so impressed with him. I really am. And the fact of the matter is that we paid 1.67 million, whatever it was, for him. The lad's on 20, 30 grand a week. And he didn't want to move because he wanted to prove himself at City. And I'm quite sure if he finishes off the season as he's played the rest of the season, he will get an improved contract at City, because he he deserves it. He's been exceptional this season. And yeah, I'm just so happy for that, because he wanted to stay at City. It would have been the easiest thing for him to go to a Wolves and probably be an exceptionally good team player in that team. But knowing that he's never going to win trophies or play in the European Champions League, I think he's been fantastic. An absolute credit to himself, And Martin, to be fair to him, has come out on the channel before he had his little break and said, he deserves some credit. So, maybe.
Can I just jump in on that, Chris?
Yes, go on.
You really think he's the most improved player over John Stones this year?
I think you know what I think about John Stones. I think John Stones is a fantastic footballer, and what we're seeing from John Stones is what his potential. But what Zinchenko has done is learnt the left back role. He does not get caught like he got caught last season with the ball going over his head. I can't remember that happening this season, Martin. I just don't remember Zinchenko falling for that crossfield ball that goes over his head. I think he's learned his position this season, and I'm not worried about him if he becomes our number one left back. I think he's been fantastic.
Just on the John Stones analogy there, I agree exactly with what you're saying, Chris, because I think that John Stones has just returned to form, right? And I think Zinchenko has actually improved. He's improved from the best version of Zinchenko that we've ever had. Whereas I think Stones has just returned to the best version of Stones that we already had. So I think he is our most improved player this year, I think. And I think he is studying the game. I think he is a student of the game. He's learned that position. He's learned a position that's a bit alien to him. and I think he's on the right track of to be making it his own position.
I think as well, Nick, his involvement in we've seen it from Pep since we had a terrible start to the season. They decided they were going to change the way they were going to play the game, and they were going to use this fullback coming in, especially Cancelo coming in and bringing this false 8, as we've called him. And Zinchenko's the way he's played that role from the left at times, but when he doesn't, the passes he makes, the transitions, because he's a natural midfielder, he sees things that Ben Mendy doesn't see. I know Ben Mendy was a fantastic left back. Injuries have ruined his career, really. But I think that he also isn't a responsible enough player for a top quality team. That's my opinion on him.
I don't think his future is a left back, Mendy. I don't think it is
he's a wing back
because not in this country, because he will get caught out 9 times out of 10.
He could imagine him as a left wing back in a league like Italy. He'd do fine. Go back to France. I think with Mendy, it's just one of the things. Sometimes you see it. Quality players come to a league, doesn't work out, or a club, it doesn't work out. They go somewhere else and they're mustard. It happens all the time. And for your point about the passing with Zinchenko's only problem is he looks so much like Kevin De Bruyne. People think it's De Bruyne making all these great passes, but it's Zinchenko the whole time. You're just confused.
Well, I'm not gonna have Kevin dismissed on this show at all, right? But yes, I
you
think
shall not say a word.
You shall not, mate. You shall not.
Best friend.
But I think he's had a great season. I think he has a really important role in the team, and it's the responsibility that he shows when he plays the left back position. Whether that he's the one pushing forward, sorry, Kurt, or the one who's asked to stay back. He can play the system. I think he's done a great job.
He's one of the 3 leaders of his national team. Players look to him as a leader. Everyone can say what they want about the quality of international football, but it's about leading men at the end of the day. When you're a leader, that's what it is about. It's about leading men. So when he's in that dressing room with all those other players, there's some decent players in that Ukraine squad, not world beaters, but they got decent players, some decent Brazilians that become residents of Ukraine and stuff, and they all look to him. I think that sort of quality. It's the same thing with Delph. A lot of people didn't like that about Delph, but Delph had leadership qualities, and these things they're important. Mendy's probably a great character around, light-hearted, very good for atmosphere, but you know what I mean? Like foxhole type stuff. I want Zinny next to me every day of the week. You know what I mean? It's one of those for me, and he's just. In a game where the game's losing that people who represent you on the pitch, he feels like that for me. He feels like he represents me on the pitch and how I'd want to play and how I'd want to do, He's never going to be some hard, gritty tackler. He's not that type of player, but what he does bring to the team is so important.
I totally agree. I think it's really unfortunate that we've had no fans in the stadium this season, because I'm telling you now, he would get a lot of recognition for his performances. There was I remember going, I think it was Burnley a few seasons ago, when Delph was having that season at left back, and I think David Silva got subbed off first, Aguero second, and
standing ovation, mate,
and Delph off first, and it was Delph who got the standing ovation because of his performance. And I'm sure Zinny would have got pretty much the same at the Etihad this season. I honestly think he's been brilliant. I think City fans will appreciate the fact that he stayed and now has proved himself. He could have taken the easy option and gone to Wolves, probably earn a lot more money, but he decided to stay and say, no, I'm good enough. And I genuinely believe he is good enough to be our first choice left back.
Backing yourself in one of the best teams in Europe, that just says it all about his mentality. That's all I want to say. That just says it all.
We love him, Nick, by the way.
I got too much praise for Zinny, mate. I'm just glad it was someone else who brought it up, because I try not to bring it up, because I could just go on all night about Zinchenko and Fernandinho. Great people.
I think next time I'll bring a more Did
you think some of us weren't going to be on the train with that one, Nick?
Not really, no. I just, I didn't, it's not caused a big argument, so.
No, mate, we love Zinny. We love Zinny.
Next time we'll talk about Bernardo and just see.
I was going to say, you bring up Bernardo Silva, the walls will come out.
Well, I mean, for me, get rid of Zinchenko. Get rid of Zinchenko. 78 games, 2 goals, 6 assists. He's got nowhere near Bernardo Silva's. Get rid of him.
Remember when I made my £30 million thing? I want to check on Transfermarkt what they've got him rated as.
He's been 1.8 million. He's been It's been an absolute steal for me.
Going up at the end of the season.
I only have that stat up ready to go.
Listen, I slagged him off on this channel up until about 18 months ago. Prior to that, you can go back and watch it. I was going, that guy cannot defend. He's getting caught behind the back all the time. And he was. The ball's over the top. He was all over the place. I remember those
games.
Go on, sorry, Nick.
I would say I remember those games, Andy, but there's a few in particular, but at the back was Stones and Otamendi. They were playing garbage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
I don't really Otamendi on here. What is the hate on the general front?
I agree with. I think you said Nick, and others have said Kurt. I think, and Chris. I think. He's found his position now, and I think under the Pep system, he's now realised where he needs to be when he plays in that left back role. And let's face it, I watched the Dortmund game and the game before when he played, and he was being dragged into the middle quite a lot, and it's obviously a Pep tactic to drag the left back over. Leave the right winger free. Completely leave him. And we're all going, shit, what are you doing? But that's obviously a tactic by Pep, is to let them have the ball out there, then we can transition back into a system. And sometimes he does look like he's dragged out of position, but I think he's been brilliant this season. I think he's been absolutely superb. When he played in midfield against Leeds, I disagree with some of the comments on here. I thought he had a really, really good game.
Top 3 performance.
I thought he was. I thought he was brilliant. I thought his one-touch passing, moving in midfield. I thought he was excellent.
Me and Mark both said it.
He was up there for man of the match.
I thought he was brilliant.
And you've got to remember, that's the exact role he plays for the Ukraine. They play a 4-3-3 with he plays the left of the midfield three. Yeah. And also, you've got to remember, when we're in possession, he's basically playing a left of a midfield 3. Yeah. It's just out of possession responsibilities is increased and got better at. He's a talent. And for what? Got to have squad players like that if you want to win a lot of things in football. And I'll take a few more of him, man.
Yeah.
He does need to improve his crossing, though.
His crossing was great.
John, do you know his stats on crossing? 77. No, so here we go with the stats. 17% cross accuracy. Give over that. He doesn't need to improve.
I'd love to know the metrics of how they're getting a cross accurate.
I've got him here.
Constitutes as a but what constitutes as an accurate cross?
He's got passes.
No, that's not the question I asked, is it, mate? I said what constitutes as an accurate cross.
Well, he's done 30. I don't know. He's got 36
exactly.
crosses. 36 crosses this year. 17% accuracy.
Yeah, but what are they talking about when they're constituting an accurate cross? Is that a ball that hits someone's head?
You're going down the whole road of what we did earlier with the Bernardo and Sterling because it's a player you like. You're going to defend him to the bloody hill.
It's not defending. I'm just saying there's a difference between a stat like dispossession, where you can go, well, he had the ball and he lost the ball, therefore it was a dispossession, than an accurate cross. I've never heard that stat in my life. How do you define an accurate cross? That's all I asked. I wasn't trying to be pedantic, mate. I just wanted to know.
Well, generally, if it crosses into the box and it tends to get to where you're putting it.
Oh, if they're looking for a City head in the box, mate, I don't know why you're bothering.
Yeah. Well, when I did my coaching badge, it was generally crossing to the box to get onto the end of a player.
We just do it to get to the opposite fullback, mate. I don't know if you know this.
Well, he's only done it 17% of the time, though, Kurt. So there you go.
Oh dear.
Well, I'm getting a load of stick. That's absolutely fine. I love a bit of stick. Andy, leave that beautiful Chris alone.
I do agree. Chris is a
Oh no!
Chris is a bellend.
I've had plenty
Mate,
before.
you disagree with
Andy
Chris, the
better
chat's coming for you, mate.
Julio, Chris's favourite fan. Andy, better chill and leave Chris alone. Yeah, I will do. I promise you. I don't want to piss you off, Julio. I know you love.
Braden's gone now.
And even he's going, Braden. Yeah, Braden's on Andy, leave the beautiful Chris alone. And he's even answering back. Look at him. Look at him. Him and his fan base. Look at him. He's like, oh, yeah. Okay,
I sometimes wonder, are we on Man City Fan TV or are we
Braden.
Chris's personal adulation broadcast channel, mate?
I do apologise, Nick. Chris has his little fan base that everyone loves.
My special friends.
They love him. Ross says, garbage, Martin. Did you know KDB is 27%? Be careful which stats you use. Could be another
Be careful which stats.
Gabby one goal.
It will never be a Gabby one goal because I use it.
Have I stumbled onto a dating site? Says Blue Art. Yeah. It's Chris's dating site. But anyway, good question, that Nick. I must admit, last couple of seasons I've given Zinchenko some right grief because I thought his defending was shocking, especially balls over the top. But this season, I think it's been brilliant. And when you think about, it's not about, your question was the rise and fall of Zinchenko. For the money we paid for him, Jesus Christ, if he could go to another club for 25, 30 million, in my opinion, because he's so versatile. Like left back, he could play a wing back. He can play left midfield. He can play DM
left of a three.
Yeah, easily. I think he's been superb. I think Martin's. I think maybe Martin said, maybe he didn't.Maybe it was Chris. It wouldn't have been Martin. The fact that he could have left to go to Wolves for 16 million quid and getting that. Did you?
I think we all made at one point or another about him.
He could have got a nice signing on fee. You know, he gets.
It would have been on more than what he was on now.
Sorry,
it would be a lot more money.
Sorry, Julio, Martin's nicking my comments now. Can you tell him, please?
Oh, is he? Oh, Martin. Oh, behave yourself. Behave. But anyway, I think Zinky's been brilliant this season. I really do. Do we need a left back? Okay, I'll ask the question on the top of Nick's question. And this will be interesting because I've got my own thoughts on this. I've always been a Mendy lover. I've always thought if he's fit, he's a great player. I am worried about Mendy. So I do personally think that Mendy needs to go in the summer for me. And I've stuck up for him for 2 years. So I do think he needs to go. But quick round robin, yes or no? No answers, no elongated answers. Yes or no? Kurt, do we sign another left back this summer? Yes or no? Okay. Martin?
Yes.
No.
Chris? Nick?
No.
It's a no from me. I do think we need to get rid of Mendy, though.
I'll be honest. Get rid of Mendy and still no.
Yeah, because we've got Ake and Laporte who can play in those positions.
Four players.
And Cancelo.
4 players without Mendy. Don't need it.
I agree. So you're getting sort of 90 grand a week plus 4.6 million a year off your wage. Who will buy him? We don't
PSG.
know. And how much money you'll get? We're not going to get
15 million.
Yeah,
so would you all just sign a striker then? Is that it?
Yeah, that's my point. Can I just
say... No. We're not talking about who we will sign this summer. We're not going down that route. We're just saying that was Nick's question about Zinchenko, and I think Zinchenko stays. And I think everyone, apart from you, maybe Martin, thinks Zinchenko stays and Mendy goes. All right, should Mendy be sold, Kurt?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Chris?
If we can.
If we can. Should he be sold?
Yeah,
Chris?
without right like now.
Right. Nick?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so everyone agrees we should now cut our losses with Benjamin Mendy. It's a shame because the kid had so much talent in those first 6-8 games that we saw him, and amazing. And injuries have obviously ruined his time at Man City. I mean, nobody's laughing at him and things like that. He was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But you can clearly see that the injuries have caught up with him. And we don't know what next year will bring and things like that. And it was a bad signing financially, but you have those, don't you? All clubs have them.
You can
so
never.
It's not about the money.
You could never have anticipated that he was going to get such bad injuries because when he first came in, until that first injury,
mustard.
He was like,
incredible.
Jesus. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Signing him on the same side was just disgusting.
Well, he got 6 assists in 8 games.
Remember when we played the 3-5-2?
Oh my God!
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Andy, three quarters of the way through that season, where Mendy had not been playing for months and months, he still had the best assists from the left for a defender.
He had like 6 in 5 games or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I think the point with that is to replace Mendy and get a permanent left back in. You are going to spend big money. We need to be spending big money on a striker this summer, not on a left back.
And that's the problem. That's why I think all of us have said no.
It's not that. It's who would we get?
Yeah,
that's better than what we've got. You know, remarkably better than what we've got without costing a fortune.
We'd be paying someone more than Zinchenko's wages for a player who's not as good.
Come on, hold on. Martin's got his hands up again.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm of the opinion it's just a left back. See, even when you win the league, you cannot stand still.
Yeah, no, but we're not standing still. We've got Nathan Ake. We've got Nathan Ake, who's hardly played.
Name me a team. You name me a team who's gone on success when they have not improved the squad.
No, we're not.
No one's talking about not improving the squad.
No, you're missing something.
A striker. We need more than just a striker.
I don't think.
And I don't get where there's no money bit from. But
no, we're not going to. We're not going down the question of what are there. We're not going to go into what do we need. We're talking about the left back position there. So, Martin, you think we need to? You think you need to sign a left back?
Yeah.
All right. So, who goes and who do you bring in then? And this is not for any of you guys. This is solely for Martin.
I'm going to go
No. Yeah,
and
go and have.
Try and bring Digne in.
Okay. So, who are you getting rid of?
Well, Mendy.
Right, and how much are you going to get for Mendy?
About 20 million, probably.
So 20 million for Mendy. And how much do you think Digne would cost from Everton?
I think you could probably get him for about 70.
Same as Chilwell, I'd say.
So
yeah, maybe a bit less, yeah.
So you're talking about £50 million difference there that we have to find. And do you think we'll sign a striker?
Yeah. I don't think we'll pay 150 million, though.
No. Just a striker. Do you think we'll sign a striker?
Yeah.
Okay, so how much are we going to sign on the striker?
That's probably about... I don't think City will go into astronomical amounts of money.
How much? Just a guess. It's a guess. It's
between 80 and 100.
Nobody.
Between
so
80
let's say... So 100 million quid on a striker. Mm-hmm. Okay. If Fernandinho leaves, are we going to replace Fernandinho?
Yeah, I think
they'll all the talk.
Dennis Zakaria, 20 million, 25 million, what they're talking about.
You think Zakaria is going to be...
And then that's it. I think we're done.
So you're looking at anywhere between 170 and 200 million quid we're going to sign. Really?
Yeah. Because we've got like 100 million to come in onto the books with Sane. You've got Angelino. You've got. When I go into my question, you could make about. You could make
Don't
about
make any
50
difference.
million on that.
Don't make any difference because we're going to go into talking about your stuff anyway. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking you figures, as in, you want to get rid of Mendy, which might be 20 million if we're lucky, but you want to bring 70 million in as a left back for Digne. I'd be quite happy with that. Quite happy. 100 million plus for a striker, and then Dennis Zakaria for 20 million. I don't think that will ever happen. 20 million quid. There's no chance we'll sign him for 20 million quid. I think he's a good player, but I don't think that's going to happen. But you can see now we're talking about sending one out and bringing three in. Well, two out and bringing three in. But you've got obviously Sergio going, so we'll see. But that's
you're getting rid of Bernardo as well, so there you go.
I don't want to get rid of Bernardo. No. There's no way I want to get rid of him. Not at all. Right. On to your question, Martin. Yes. This is about buying players and loaning them out.
This is something I was watching last week, and I thought, Ozzy, you didn't have time to say it, and I just thought it's a really, really good question, actually. Now I wanted to go down the road a bit, just like, what do you guys think about the City's policy of buying and loaning out players? And does it truly work? And what I'm going to do for you now, I'm going to go into the absolute list of players currently out on loan at the moment. Anyone wants to get a pen and paper? Go on, Chris.
Well, you're going to name them all.
You're going to name all of them.
Well, listen. When you name them, I'm just going to take my dog out.
And I'm gonna
exactly. This is the whole point of this, right? Anyway,
no. You go through them. I'm just going to take my dog out for a week.
Martin, I'm just going to go for half an hour's kip, all right, and I'll be back with you.
It's just me and Nick just listening to names.
No. I'll just throw out the main ones. Got Jack Harrison, obviously on loan at Leeds, 24 years old. Patrick Roberts, who we signed in 2015.
God, is he still with us?
Yeah.
We're stuck with him. Do you see the wages we put him on? No wonder we're stuck with him.
2015 we signed him. He made one appearance coming on for Jesus Navas in a game, and then he's been and played at about 15,000 other clubs in between. Had a very good spell at Celtic, scored many goals. Go on, Chris, you want to say something?
Yeah, because I watched a lot of Patrick Roberts at Celtic, and he really did all right there, and then he got an injury, and from that point onwards,
Bobbins at Norwich though, wasn't he?
Yeah. From that injury onwards, he just never returned. He for me, and I think if you ask most Celtic fans, when he was playing for Celtic, when he went there, he was probably their player of the season. He was really good.
But that was also a time where
I've not got my question out yet.
The Celtic League's even worse than it is now. Like, it's terrible back then.
Everybody else was allowed to answer their
Sorry,
question.
mate, you go.
Are you not reading? We're not going to sit here and listen to 30 names, Martin.
No, I'm just giving the main ones. Listen, bullying.com down there. Listen, you obviously got Miles Moreno, you've got Daniel Grimshaw, you've got Yangel Herrera, who may be coming back. Got Lucas Nemecha, you've got Muric, we've got Daniel Arzani, who went off to Melbourne Blues in the end, I think it was. Pedro Porro, Tedic, and we've got Moreno, Yankuto, and obviously Stefanovic, who we bought for $8 million in the summer. Then we've got EDS on loan, Taylor Howard-Bellis, obviously at Blackburn, Joe Hodge, Jaden Braffy went to Udinese, who was apparently going to be the next superstar in the making, and then got pissed off to Udinese. And obviously, then we've had Philip Sandler and that on loan and the other match, but they've obviously come back, especially Sandler after his time at Anderlecht. So to put it bluntly, is it something that is working for the club? And why? You look at Chelsea, obviously, they have I think they have 40 or 50 players out on loan in the end, but some of those have now broken through. Obviously, I know it was out of necessity for one of them, Mason Mount, because they had the transfer ban. Is it working, this loan system for City, or is it just what it looks like, a means to an end to make the money? Go on, Kurt. You go first, mate.
Well, when you ask, is it working? Well, what, you got to ask the first question is, what is his objective?
Well, there you go. What's the objective of it then?
Because for me, there's 3 objectives of the the loan-in system. One is just to literally service decent players to our affiliate clubs where they don't have to buy them and we can take the hit. You know, we can send them out to Girona, Melbourne City, whatever. Then you got the other one, which is we're bringing in just what I call it is the South American lottery. You're just buying a South American lottery ticket and hoping you get a good one, which basically every European club does. Have got a brain cell. You just play the South American Euro Millions, you know, and hope you get the good balls. And the other ones are just players like the ones that I think are more nurtured and actually have a pathway through to the first team. Players like Phil Foden, Teward Holobellis. I think these players get a little bit more time, a little bit more credit, a little bit more looked after. It might be to their affiliation to the clubs on a personal level, or it might just be to us their quality. But I think you can clearly tell what players are coming in and what their purpose is when they're brought in, for me, with the loan stuff. And for me, it's working out brilliantly, mate. They brought in financial fair play and didn't think football teams would create a loophole to get around it. And this is just a way to get around it. So carrying on, mate. You do what you got to do. No problem with me. I like watching EDS.
Yeah, no, get that. Nick, what do you think? And here's the thing, I forgot to ask Kurt. Are any of these actually going to make it into the first team?
Well, yeah, it's like I said, there's three different reasons we bring in players. One, because we're trying to win the lottery of a South American player. 2, because we want to actually develop these players and maybe have a chance of, they don't make it, we get a 10, 15 million sell on. We don't lose money anyway over the course of, say you have 10 players, 7 of you make profit on, 3 you make losses on. Over the 10, you've made a profit. So they see it as a profit-making business. And as I said, there's those other few players where they've been obviously, I think, personally looked at and decided, oh, these ones might actually have a pathway.
Who?
Players like Foden before. I think Sancho
Foden never went out on loan. Foden never went out on loan.
Are you talking just strictly of the loan? Strictly of the loan?
Yeah.
Okay.
30 odd players out on loan.
Well, then when you're talking about that, sorry, I misunderstood. Then whatever. Then it's just a case of if it's working for you. I couldn't care less. Like players that I've never seen play at City. I don't watch loan players from City that have never played for the EDS or the top team. So I couldn't care less if they're like I said, financial fair play, making money, getting around loopholes and that, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's basically the question. Is it? What is the purpose? And
like Yangel Herrera at Granada, right? He's at Granada, I believe, right? He was probably going to have a good footballing career, probably going to play at a decent level, but ain't going to be at City. And that's just the case for a lot of players. People made in the comments earlier, even the ones that don't get through our academy, whether it's through the academy system or the loan system, they're still going to end up playing professional football at a pretty decent level. Might not be in English football at the top level, but at the end of the day, professional football is still professional football. So, yeah. I think it's fine.
Nick? Oh, sorry, mate. Go on, Nick.
I think it's predominantly a commercial. It's a commercial exercise, and I don't mean just bringing them in, building them up and selling them off. I don't mean just that. I think if we have presence in different countries and we're bringing in the top talent from those countries, I think the spotlight then comes onto our club, and I think that will interest people, particularly within those countries. So, if we bring some of the best Brazilian youth players to City, the Brazilian press are all over that because, if there's a country that's madder about football than England, it's Brazil. And I think it brings a lot of interest from a commercial aspect because, the press want to know what's happening. They take an interest in City. City become higher up in the agenda in different countries. So I think there's the commercial aspect to it. We obviously want to have an academy that's sought after as well. So players want to come and play for City as well. So I think it attracts different levels of commerciality. Do we agree with it? Not particularly. It's in an ideal world, we want that. We would want our players, to stay with the club and work their way through the EDS and into the side. But the reality of it is, a very, very small percentage are ever going to make it into that City side. So it's an estimated and calculated gamble that we play, because they do come in on relatively good contracts, because we've got to do that to stop them from going to the likes of Chelsea or Liverpool or the Barcelona academies. Hence the reason we ended up with Garcia.
Yeah. I mean, I know someone mentioned about Marlos Moreno. I think he was actually signed in 2016 for 4.75, I think. He's now on his 6th club to be loaned out. So, and he's never appeared. Chris.
Go
on, Kurt.
So the problem with that is these are it's the Patrick Roberts situation. The geezers they're on inflated money to keep them from going to other places, and then once they've had actual game time and people are playing, they realise the players are bobbins or nowhere near what the contract value is. You're never going to buy him. No one's going to come and buy Moreno for a fee and then pay his contract on top of that, because it's not worth it. That's the problem when you stick these guys on these high contracts when you bring them in on the loan ones. That was the only point I wanted to add.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think of our loan system?
How much money is the loan system making the club?
I've got the stats.
That's what I need. That's fundamentally, is it worth doing? Is the question. So that means to me, to how much money we're spending on players and how much we're earning from their loans.
What I did work out was, everyone that's on that list that I've got, they have a transfer value of around 70 to 80 million, give or take. You've got Porro that's on at 8. I think current club he's at, they're looking at 8 million. Obviously, we had Iheanacho though. How much did Iheanacho go for? 20 plus million.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, 20.
20 plus million Iheanacho went, and obviously Garcia, unfortunately, we're going to lose on a free. But I think they'd have got a decent amount for him if they could have got him under. And also, what I think, sorry, I'm coming back to you, Chris, what the City are very good at, like the Douglas Luiz situation, they've got a £25 million buyback. If City are clever, they could buy Douglas Luiz back and then sell him back on for more profit, or even say to Aston Villa, why don't you give us a little bit of money and we'll get rid of our thing. What's going on now?
It's for Julio. Get off, Martin. Julio wants to see me, not you.
All right, I'll go then.
Yeah, Julio. So I'm glad you're here, mate.
I had to give Julio his little bit of.
He's great. He's brilliant. So that's the point, really, Martin, because the players who actually we've brought in, there's a lot of them who don't even make it to EDS level, isn't there? They just get loaned out into Girona and lots of clubs, not just the CFG clubs. So are we making money off those loans out to the clubs? Because if we're making money off them, yes, of course it's worth keeping doing it. But as a City fan, you've got to accept that there's not many players in that group, the ones who don't play the EDS, who are going to make it at City. And you only have to look at, thanks, Braden, think, Marlos Moreno, who's 24 now. He's never going to make it at City. So if it's making money, then yes, carry on doing it. Absolutely. There are players within the EDS who are some very good players, but that's at EDS level. There's, you can liken this, and you're probably too young to remember this, Martin, but Graham Hick came through the county system in cricket, right? He was spanking bowlers everywhere. And then he had to wait, I think it was 7 years before he qualified to play for England. 7 years later, he plays for England and he can't play the short ball. And they think he finished with an average of 27. He was a flat track bully. Now, that happens with football as well. And there's a lot of EDS players. We look at the likes of Cole Palmer, who's definitely got something about him. He's a fantastic footballer. James McAtee, a very cultured footballer. And we all want Tommy Doyle to do well, right? We all want Tommy because of his pedigree. But I don't like to say this, but I don't think Tommy's going to make the grade at City. I think he'll make the grade as a footballer, but I don't think he will.
Well, I think an example of that's Braff. How many years have we jumped about Braff?
Not that many, because he hasn't been at City that long, Mark. The fact of the matter is, when he did play at EDS level and an academy level, he was bloody good footballer. He just didn't want to sit. He thought he was a bit like Sancho. He thought he was ready to play at a higher level than at EDS level.
Are you saying he had a bad attitude then? How did you know
it's a question of backing yourself and believing you can make it already. You know?
I was waiting for the smile at the top. How do you know that? Are you in the club?
No, it's not. It's not about bad attitude and stuff like that. Jadon Sancho thought he could go and play at a higher level than EDS level, and guess what? He can. And Jaden Braff thinks he can. So let's see whether he can at Udinese or not. We've got some really good players in the EDS. You might see another one, maybe two of those players in the EDS now get some games to see, but you're not going to see 5, 6, 7 of them. The holistic approach we were expecting under the Pellegrini is not going to happen.
You'll very quickly know who are the ones we're looking at with the EDS, because Pep does it a lot. He'll start to bring them on Champions League away trips. They won't ever play. They'll just sit on the bench. They'll never do nothing. But he just gets them integrated, training with the first squad, getting used to traveling to an away game, all those things. We saw it with Foden. We saw it with Taylor Harbour-Bellis for a little bit. We saw Tommy Doyle's had it quite a few times. He's been on the Champions League team sheets. You know, and I think it's a good way. So when we see a few more of those getting put in those positions, I think that'll be when they more likely transition into our team, like the first team, or at least getting chances. But if they're not even on away days with the FA Cup guys in the lower rounds, they've got no chance. They're nowhere near it.
No, true. Andy, what do you think? Because I mean, one of them is Jan Kuta. How excited did I get on Jan Kuta in the summer?
Well,
yes.
I'm going to wrap this up with just some figures. And then we need to move on to the last question, because it's we've gone past 3 hours now. 2021, Douglas Luiz, 12.5 million. Taylor Richards, 2.5 million. Manu Garcia, 3.6 million. Pablo Mari, 1.5 million. Total for 2021, £20.1 million in young player sales. But you have to remember, there are a lot of these are undisclosed other players that we don't know what the figures are. So that could be another 20 million. We don't know. Last year, Angus Gunn, 13.5 million. Pablo Maffeo, 8.1 million. Bersant Selena, 3.1 million. Brahim Diaz, 22 million. Rabbi Matondo, 9.6 million. Jason Denea, 6.5 million. Angelino, 5.5 million. Totaled 68.3 million. But there were a load of undisclosed fees in that as well. So 68.3 million last season. Aaron Moy, if you want to call him a young player, 8 million. Olivier Uncham, 4.5 million. Iniacho, 25 million. Coyote, 3.5. Ennis Unal, 12 million. 1.75 million for Ruben Sobrino. Jadon Sancho, 8 million. 63.7 million. But again, a load of undisclosed in that season as well. So City are making huge amounts of sums of money from young players being brought in. Did the vlog the other night about Keiki and well, I did it about a month ago with Matinho and Keiki. Now we have confirmed that the signing of Keiki. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing, especially when you've got 7, 8 clubs that you can go and throw them in, see what it is, see how they play. If they're good enough, they'll come back to the EDS. I mean, I know Peppers has come out and said Keiki will go into the EDS team. As for the others, I don't know. But like I've always said, when we bought Gabby Jesus,
And on that cakey one, has he got another year at Fluminense? And because they can be 2022.
He's not coming. He's not coming this
signed
season. It'll be next season. It's 2022. 2022. Yeah,
especially with COVID and stuff. Makes sense.
It'll be 2022 when he comes, and he'll be drafted into the EDS squad, and then they'll see what he's like. And if they think he stays around the squad, he stays around the squad. If not, he goes to a Girona or one of the other feeder clubs, or goes back to
throwing out a lot of nets, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's all you do.
Throwing out a lot of lines and just see what comes in, mate.
That's
Same
what
when the tie goes out.
That's all it is. That's why Chelsea have been so successful. I think it's 150 million quid every year they're making on these players. It's the right model. Why have Man United now decided that they want to go and buy an overseas club? They've looked at the City model and went, it's actually a really good model. Now United are interested in buying a feeder club overseas. So City have been doing it for 6 years. Now United have suddenly jumped on this and going, actually, that's a really good way of doing stuff. City are Chelsea are way ahead in signing young players. But City are right behind.
The thing with Chelsea, you got to remember, Andy, is we have to go a lot more of the European talent. Chelsea get an absolute monopoly of the London talent that they get.
Of course.
They completely wipe him clean.
I'm talking more about the overseas talent rather than the local talent. But I heard Trevor Sinclair on TalkSport today saying he hopes the Brexit deal and everything that's going on with Brexit really does force clubs into going, well, we can't sign him because of European Brexit rules and things like that, and they can't just jump from a European team to come to here, like Claudio Gomez, who we signed, who was PSG were going mental about the fact that we signed him on a free or 5 million or whatever. But that's not going to happen. And he hopes that younger kids from a local area will be able to get more opportunities. And I probably agree with that. Very quickly, Kurt, before we move on to the last one.
I know I'm dragging it on, but I think the Brexit thing will be really good because it will let clubs actually get the lower level clubs actually get the profit of these players. Because what we're seeing now is we're snatching up whoever from X club when they're 14 instead of when they're 17, and that club actually getting a penny out of it. Because you know how it works. When they're under those contracts, we don't have to pay anything. We can say stuff you lot, and it's stifling the lower leagues, which is what's been absolutely drowned out with the COVID. And I'm sure it's going to be affecting more for Brexit. So hopefully, lower league clubs get a bit more with that stuff. That's what I wanted to say, mate.
I'm totally with you on that, mate. I really, really am.
I'm sick of it, mate. Lower league clubs get shafted.
Let's hope so. But, a great question. But it just goes to show you that with those figures I just posted there, and that is without the undisclosed fees that we don't know what was signed. That's like 150 million in the last 3 years. All of them are kids, basically. Maybe not Aaron Moy, but most of them are kids. And we are making money on that model. So, right, on to the last question of the night. I hope you guys have been thinking about this one. And this is your all-time Manchester City 11. And this was a question that somebody asked us last week. And we said, God, we can't do it this week. But I did promise we'd do it this week. So I gave it about 30 minutes and having a real think about it.
I spent a lot longer than 30 minutes, mate.
Right,
I was on an hour for ages.
I tell you what, I'm going to give you my team first, and then I'm going to leave it totally over to you so I can go back to the comments. But
just give me one. I'll be running to the bathroom. Won't be a minute.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. This was solely on. I took it on players I saw.
Yeah, I didn't put any players I'd never seen play.
I didn't also put Colin Bell in there because I didn't see enough of him. I saw him, but I didn't see him in his great days. So I couldn't put Colin Bell in my team, sadly. But anyway, this is going to be my team. So you can pick it apart and do whatever you like. But there you go. My team is Joe Corrigan in net. Pablo Zabaleta as right back. Tommy Booth, Vincent Kompany, and Paul Power. Fernandinho as the holding CDM. Yaya Toure. Now that took me, honestly, that took me some, because you know
the
what
midfield's brutal, isn't it?
You know what my thoughts are about Yaya Toure. I dislike him. I dislike his agent, and I dislike everything that he did with the racism stuff against Pep Guardiola and everything. And he's come out and apologised apparently today about those comments. But I did put him in there, and he was the one. He was the one that I really and I loathed to put him in there. But looking at his stats, he was brilliant. So Fernandinho, KDB, Yaya Toure. I've gone for David Silva ahead of him with Dennis Stewart and Sergio Aguero. So there you go. That is my team. It's over to you, and we'll come to you, Kurt, first.
I already see you getting called out for having no Kinkladze in there. That's what I've seen in the comments straight away.
It's shy. You only have to look at his figures. I mean,
didn't he go to Derby? I only saw him at Derby.
Listen,
and he wasn't that great.
Paul Lake, one of my favourite all-time players, couldn't put him in there because he played 120 odd games. That's it. I mean, in 10 years. Kinkladze played about. It's just nonsense. You can't put him in for playing 98 games or something like that. No, you just simply can't. And his goal to game ratio was nothing like Yaya's. That's the only reason why I put Yaya in there. And I wouldn't. Yaya's not my favourite player. You all know that. But his stats say it. That's the only reason why I put him in. It's not about one or two season wonders.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have Ali Benabia and I'd have Berkovic and
I'd have Elano in there, mate. My boy,
Elano and whatever else.
But what a guy!
You can't put players like that in it.
You're shaking your head, man. You shake it somewhere else.
I've got
Elano was great.
him, man, but never mind.
Well, he would.
Who are we going to next?
Player.
Who are we going to next?
Right, no, Kurt. Sure.
Oh, it's me up next. Oh, well, like I said, I just want to preface it by saying I started watching about 99, but I football properly in about 2002, 2003. I was watching before then, but not teletext. How am I going to know who to put in my all-time 11 off teletext, guys? I'm sorry. I just can't do it. So I'm only going to play as I watch, like I said. In goal for me, it was Hart. Eddie might get there one day, but like Andy said, with the time thing, he's just not got enough for me. Hart in goal. Right back is literally not even a question. Pablo Zabaleta. Kompany and Richard Dunn as my centre-back pairing. Own goals for days, but we don't mind. And the left back was the hard decision because basically all my life has been dog tier left backs at our club. Stuart Pearce at like 40 years old. Good times. But no, I stuck Clichy in there because I think out of the ones in my lifetime, he's probably been the most consistent left back. I love Kolarov, but Clichy was probably better than Kolarov. Let's have it right. Midfield three is exactly the same as Andy's. Dino, Kevin De Bruyne, and Yaya Toure. What they contributed to our success from the time I've watched this club's undoubtable. And then the front three was really difficult as well. Obviously, number 9's easy as anything. I'm sticking Sergio there. I went with David off the left and Sterling off the right. And just a very big shout out to Sean Wright Phillips. You almost got there, but Sterling pipped you, I'm afraid, mate.
You're selling him. No,
mate, I cried my eyes out.
We're moving on to Nick.
You know, he was the last English player to win Player of the Year at Manchester City. So the next one might be Foden. So, yeah, he was the last one.
Maybe. Right, Nick, what is your all-time City 11 that you've seen?
So my first game was 1981. So I've got a mixture of players across the decades, really. So my number one is Joe Corrigan. Wasn't the greatest goalkeeper in the world. But
Nick, careful now, careful.
He wasn't the greatest goalkeeper in the world, but everybody loved him. Everybody loved Big Joe. And to be honest with you, he was up against Ray Clements and Peter Shilton, so he was never going to be England's number one, but he was the best goalie other than those two. I had to pick Zabba at right back because you want that in your team. He was City through and through, even though he's from Argentina. I've gone with the Dunn Company defence.
Okay.
Again, two of the greatest centre halves that we've had.
Yeah.
But one clearly far better than the other. But again, it's the best. It's the best, probably the best pairing I could put together.
Yeah, but
one with less red cards.
You cannot. Don't start slagging Company off. Come on.
Oh no. Left back was a tricky one.
It's horrible, isn't it, Nick?
But
it's a hard one.
I've gone with a guy that, I mean, in the 80s, you look at a lot of players, and if any of them got over 100 games, you were lucky. And this guy I thought was a great left back, Clive Wilson.
He was a good player.
He was super player.
Yeah, he was. He was a great player. I mean, I that was my hardest position, apart from the Yaya Toure thing.
But I like Clive Wilson. He was a good player.
Good player.
He had two good feet.
He did.
And then in the midfield, this was hard. Oh, this was hard because I was looking at players like Benarbia, King Clancy. Some of those really good flair players. But like you say, they didn't play that much. Even though they did stand out in poor teams. Yeah. But I've gone with KDB, Silva, and Fernandinho in the middle.
Okay. I
can't forgive Yaya for his misgivings. I can't forgive him for his agent, and I can't, he didn't get in there. He would have done otherwise.
I know. I'd like to know who you picked ahead, because that was my dilemma.
Yeah. Well, on the right,
it's still not forgiven.
On the right wing, I've got Sean Wright Phillips.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I've gone Sergio Aguero up top.
Yeah.
And then I've gone for really the left field one, but he was the first player that I thought was the bee's knees when I was a City fan. Paul Simpson on the left wing.
So, another Simo. Yeah, a really good player. Okay. The Yaya one is just, I only put him in there, and it really bugged me to put him in there because I can't forgive him. I really
dragged
can't.
us for too much, though.
I know.
He was an absolute idiot, but
I know. I had to be objective. I had to be objective with mine, so I had to put him in. But I hated putting him in there. But anyway, Martin, good team that with Wilson and Simpson and Sweep. Sweep is.
Blue Heart, mate. Just so you know, it's about what we've seen, mate. I'm not going to put Bert Troutman and players I've never seen play a game of football, mate. It's just not going to happen. It's pointless.
It's about what you saw. But Blue Heart. Well, before we come to Martin, Blue Heart says no Dave Watson and Mike Dawes, especially no Skip Tony. But
never saw him.
Blue Heart.
I didn't watch him, mate.
They finished before my first game was March 77. So those guys, I think, had
Andy,
one of them had 1 year.
Let's not
the others had finished.
Let's not age shame Blue Heart. That's terrible.
No, he's an old man.
Chris
Alex Troutman, greatest goal ever. Alex, have you ever seen Bert Troutman play? I've
seen highlights of the cup final. That's it.
This is about what we've seen as City fans. It's not about who. If you type into Google, what will be? Remember the 125th anniversary, documentary that we did. That is on the channel. We did all and researched all of those players. It's about what we saw in our lifetime, and not about who might have been. So, Martin, over to you.
Did Chris not tell you he got Billy Meredith's autograph?
Yeah. He wishes.
Sold it, Martin, for 2D.
Did you? Right, my team.
Is Andy bullying Blue Art now? No, I'm not bullying anyone. I'm just fucking talking nonsense.
You're a big meanie, you are, Andy.
No, I'm a right terrible person. For clarifying a question.
I have gone down the road of players I've only seen. Now, you have to realise I started supporting City in the late 80s, early 90s, so I just saw
it's only what
I just saw a load of shit, really.
You're such a plastic, Martin.
I know.
Yeah, he's a right plastic, he is.
I have picked Edison over
left back.
My left back's Terry Phelan.
Sorry, goalkeeper.
Edison.
You're going for Eddie, okay.
Yeah. My left back's Terry Phelan.
Player.
Because I just think we've had shocking left backs. If you actually look at left back,
yeah, good player.
It's been shocking. Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
My next one, I had to go Keith Curl over Doug. Had to do it. Captain Marble, penalty taker supreme, and then Zabra at right back. Field, I haven't done right wing left. Just pick King Cladsy's in because we know
that. We know that anyway.
Scored the greatest goal I ever seen, and it was a pleasure to watch that live.
Yeah,
you're right, Martin. It was so much better than Aguero's and Company's title.
Miles better.
I've never seen Aguero take on the whole team and chip it all.
Miles better. Go on, crack on.
David Silva, obviously. El Mago. Nigel de Jong.
Ooh. Okay.
I think he was awesome. He was shit up.
Okay. What formation are you playing here with Kinky, Silver, and Nigel de Jong?
Well, Cladsy used to go on the wing a bit, didn't he?
That's why he's got de Jong in doing everything.
If you could be asked.
Who's your next four, or are you going straight for a 3?
I've gone 4-4-2. 4-4-2.
Okay, who's your other four? Who's your fourth?
Mike Bassett.
No.
No Fernandinho, but Nigel de Jong is in it.
Yeah. I nearly picked. Bloody hell. I nearly picked David Hall. But he only played 21 games.
Picked who, Dad?
Castle.
He's a great player, but not a City.
I thought put Gaz Baz in. Baz.
Next you'll be having Lampard in.
Gaz Baz.
I said Gareth Barry.
What?
Gareth Barry.
Hold on a minute here.
Oh, here we go, because I didn't put... I can't put...
No, it's fine. It's your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice. Well, you've gone Kinky, Silver, Nigel de Jong, and Gareth Barry.
It's gone 4-4-2, DM, de Jong, and Barry. And
So
he's having a go at us about moaning about the
Kevin De
Mancini
Bruyne,
days.
no Fernandinho.
Hey, all opinions, mate. All opinions.
You're right. Okay, go on then. Who is your
Sergio Aguero.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to stick Benjani.
I was going to say, it might be.
Oh no, I'm
Berardi.
And then I've got Barry Conlon. No, I haven't. David White.
Go on.
And then David White.
In a 4-4-2. That ain't gonna work.
Who's the manager? Sam Allardyce.
That ain't gonna work. A 4-4-2 in that with David White and Sergio up front.
It's like playing left backs against Leeds.
Yeah.
Listen, you didn't say we have to stick formations and
no, but that's a weird line.
That's a Pellegrini 4-4-2.
That is a weird line.
2-2-2, isn't it?
But it's about your favourite players. So
I nearly put goals in it.
No, fair play. It's about your favourite players, so you can fit them in however you like. Chris.
Hi, mate. How was supposed to follow that, Andy?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Right,
Not if we want any laughs.
No, there's no laughs on this team. I tell you that for nothing. I've kind of, I am going to admit here, Andy, I put a couple of older players in, right, who I think deserve to be an all-time. This is for your Blue Hearts, right? We've got to look after the older. Well, I've seen one of them.
Blue Heart. Yeah, I have interviewed David White, but I mean, I'm talking about Martin playing him in the 2 up front. He was never a 2 up front. He was a wide player.
I think out of all of us, I think I make Joe Corrigan my number 1. So I think he would be. I think with me? Zabba at right back.
I think most of us did that.
Paul Power at left back.
Oh, you've gone with me.
Yeah. Company.
Yeah.
And I had to get this player in somewhere. He might have not fulfilled what he should have done, but Paul Lake, I'm putting in the centre half.
I know. God, you're being naughty there.
But
you're being really naughty there. I think that's naughty. That's naughty. You're putting Paul Lake as a centre back. He's our really naughty. Playing.
He's our ball playing centre half.
I know.
He played enough games to know.
For stuff like that.
We saw enough of him.
That's naughty. I know we did, but that's naughty. I would have had Lake in my team every day of the week, but that's naughty putting him as a centre back with Vinny.
Hashtag Dad's Army.
No, I'm not having that. No way. No way. Go on then. Go on. Seeing as though you're a presenter, you got presenters' rights. You can have him, but I think that's naughty. Putting Lake in as a centre back. Okay, yeah. Werner, yeah.
Bell and KDB.
So you've got Bell in. You must be far older than me. Or went before I did.
I'm doing this for Blue Heart.
Okay, Colin Bell. I know. I should have put him in, but I didn't see enough of him.
Front three, right hand side, Summerby. On the left, David Silva. Straight in front, Sergio.
That would be a spicy team, wouldn't it?
What was that? Sorry.
Summerby on the right, David on the left, Sergio in the middle.
He didn't say whether it was Nicky or Mike.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a good team.
That's a good team, isn't it?
That is a good team. That is a really good team.
Obviously, I never see Paul Lake, but I've seen enough of the stuff and footage of Summerby, mate.
I still think you're cheating with Lake as a centre back. Sorry,
cheating with his old team.
Yeah,
I had to get Lakey in there. Lakey was a fantastic footballer.
But I couldn't get him in.
Mate, I almost went with a back three at Richard Dunn at left back. So don't worry about me. I was like, I can't do this. I was just like, let's just not have a left back in there. They will be shitting.
Nick, overriding decision. As the new guest on here, it's going to throw you right in this. Should Chris be allowed to put Paul Lake? Because he would have been in my team, but I couldn't fit him in because of the position. Should Chris be allowed to play Paul Lake alongside Vinny as a centre back?
Imagine that.
I only ever saw him as a centre back, to be honest. So,
hold on.
Sweeper. I'll tell you what. Let's split the difference and make him the sweeper.
Oh, he'd have to. He'd have to have Dunny ahead of him.
For those of us who were lucky enough to see Paul Lake play,
he was good.
He was
amazing. He's a brilliant player.
Little
Absolutely
story.
Brilliant.
He actually played for my school team, but he was in the couple of years ahead of us. But it was the only year that school team ever won the school's FA Cup.
Yeah.
The year he was in that team, so St. Mary's Catholic school in Denton, yeah.
He was a brilliant. He was honestly, Kurt. He was an absolutely brilliant player. It was just devastating. I mean, you only have to look at Michael Johnson. You look at Johnson, and you look at how good Michael Johnson's potential was. That was Paul Lake, but tenfold.
Yeah.
Mental, mate.
Incredible player. David White. I mean, I could easily have put David White in my team because he did produce it, just not over a long period of time.
In fact, me and Martin have the shittest pool of players to pick from. We both got terrible.
No, Martin's not. Martin's back in the mid.
No, have you seen Yusuf? Yusuf's got a shout there.
What?
And
Nicholas Anelka.
I didn't even think of it.
Nicholas Anelka.
Yeah.
No,
Sergio.
Oh,
no chance.
What instead of Sergio?
Absolutely no chance.
Well,
Sergio.
Listen, the rest of us went for
Samaras.
No chance.
We didn't go for a Mike Bassett formation. We went for the Pep.
Hang on a minute. So are you telling me overall as a player, as people put Gota, but you'd have Anelka's a far better striker than Gota was when you put it.
It's a classic example about Anelka. Ross says no Tevez for anyone, in my opinion, one of the best goals. I agree with. I thought it was brilliant for City, but longevity. No.
It's not. You can't have these players that come in for 2 or 3 years. You look at their career thing, and it looks like a rap sheet or something with the amount of names on it and that. It's like Anelka's been everywhere. Like he couldn't keep himself happy, let alone anybody else happy. Like he's nah.
Look, we've left out Paul Dickoff.
And Uwe.
Ross says Sergio, Tevez, and Uwe in my team. No way, Tevez. Uwe, he was a great player, but when you're picking an 11, you've got to drop. You've got to drop some people to get some better players into your 11. You surely got to. I picked Dennis Stewart. I mean, Jesus, look at the figures. Look at the figures of Dennis Stewart. A phenomenal player.
Yeah, it was
to score 2 on my first game ever at Main Road. 2-0 against Norwich. Scored 2. One of my favourite all-time players. But I mean, you look at his figures overall. His figures are phenomenal.
Dennis Stewart,
brilliant. Brilliant. Peter Barnes.
Yeah,
Peter Barnes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant players.
How many games do you think Anelka played, Kurt? Just on that Anelka thing.
He played like 4 yees for us, 3 years, 3.5 years.
9 games, 38 goals.
Yeah, it's the most he's ever been at a club. I know that. Yeah. But did he stay anywhere? But come on, mate. He got a chance to dip. He dipped. Let's not have any different. It wasn't like he was waking up in Manchester, loving life, excited to be.
You know what? I came out of Manchester Airport. I come back off a flight, and I right at Terminal 2. I went to fill my car up, and I walked in. Nicholas Anelka was in his silver Ferrari while he was at City, and I walked in, and I went, Nicholas, and he was like, oh. And I went, how are you, mate? No, actually, he was really, really nice. I got a selfie with him and everything. And then he was like, oh, you all right? And I was like, yeah. How's things for you? And he went, oh, okay, type of thing. He must have thought, what fucking weirdo this is. But he was actually walked outside, and he was really nice guy. Brilliant guy. But Dennis Stewart, 120. I'm just looking at his overall 120, 34 goals. I think for City. Great player.
Yeah, he's no Bernardo Silva though. Come on.
No, he's not Bernardo Silva. 120. What was it? 30 goals. No, take Bernardo Silva about 34 goals. Take Bernardo Silva about 15 years to score that.
This might be comment of the night, Andy.
But anyway, Andy and Nicholas Anelka's buddy cop film. You'll need. Stewart over Sergio. Not a chance.
No.
I don't think anyone's put. I had Chewett in my team as well as Sergio Bluehart.
I'd have picked Brian Kidd, Joe Royal up front.
There you go. There you go. That was my team. Bluehart. I didn't have Chewett over Aguero. I had Corrigan, Booth, Company, Zabaleta, Power, Fernandinho, KDB, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Chewett, and Aguero. So I didn't have Chewett over Aguero. No chance. Aguero goes in every day of the week. But anyway, right. We are about to finish. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. Thank you, Kurt.
Cheers. I know it's a really, really late one, but I just want to say massive thanks to Nick for coming on. I'm sure after tonight he's going to wake up tomorrow going, what the fuck did I just do? But I've appreciated having you on, sticking with us, mate. Cheers.
No, it's been fun. Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for bringing up Zinchenko, mate. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Oh, God, yeah. Best team, my favourite team. Nick, thank you so much. I know it's a late one. It always is a late one on the Friday Night Social. So thank you for sticking around. Your missus is probably going to go mental.
She's fine. No, you're welcome. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting me on.
And thank you for your questions and all your input. You've been absolutely superb, buddy. So it's really nice to have a differing opinion than the usual garbage that we arguments that we get on there. So at least you put in some objective opinions tonight. So thank you, buddy. Do Pete, appreciate it. Martin?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
5 o'clock tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
5.
What time?
5.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay, 5 o'clock tomorrow is the live watch along. Chelsea versus Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. So we'll see what happens with that one. And it's amazing that we're at this stage of the season. Semi-final of the Champions League, semi-final of the FA Cup, final of the Carabao Cup, on our way to winning, hopefully, the Premier League. Wow. And it's the 17th of April. It's been a brilliant, brilliant season so far. So, Chris?
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate you for trimming this Friday Night Social down to the 2 hours you promised us, Andy.
I never said 2 hours. When have I ever said 2 hours? I never said 2 hours tonight. I never said 2 hours tonight. Did I?
I've got my breakfast cooking here. Sorry, got breakfast on the go.
Nick, it's really been a pleasure to meet you, mate, and I hope you come on again.
It won't be 3.5 hours. I promise. Next time.
Before.
I shouldn't even have been doing it tonight.
Kurt, stop laughing in the background, you little bugger. You're making me laugh.
I know. He's like a little child, isn't he?
The comments tonight have been absolutely top notch. A lot of you guys have been on good form in the comments. I know we haven't bring up everyone because we got a lot of people on, but I've been reading them and I've been laughing at them, guys. You guys are hilarious.
Well, listen,
and that other fella can. Jesus Christ! No wonder he's been off this channel a long time.
Who?
Him.
Him up there.
Who? Yeah. He's staying to watch alongs, Andy. I'm sorry.
What did he say? I've gone deaf. I've done watch alongs.
He said,
stick to your watch alongs.
Stick to your watch alongs, he said. But anyway,
fancy. What are you on about? All time 11. Get off.
Oh, sorry. At least I've seen my all-time 11. Encyclopedia.
Only from your
Wikipedia, quickly. Wikipedia. He looks good. I've never seen him, but I put him in. Get off, yeah.
He's lost the plot now. Right, well, listen. This is Andy from mcfcfantv. These are the reprobates, apart from Nick. Nothing to do with it.
Bless him.
But we've got these other 3 reprobates on. Nick, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry. It's been such a long one. It's the longest Friday night social we've ever done. Trust me, it's normally about 2.5, 2:40. Last week was 3 hours and 3 minutes. Tonight it's 3 hours and 40. But it's. I want to say thank you to everyone who has come on the channel. Major comments. Where do we go from here? It's only on to tomorrow and Martin's.
4 hours, Matt. That's where we go from here. And 4 hours.
Live watch along tomorrow. Don't forget, join him at 5 o'clock. And then he'll be finished at 10:30 tomorrow night. But anyway, take care. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't given it a thumbs up, there's still 65 people on at this time. God knows what, 1:10 in the morning. What are you all doing? Get alive. Get to bed. Go do something. But anyway, take care. Give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe. Hit that bell icon. That way you'll be notified when Martin goes live for 4.5 hours tomorrow night. But take care. Thank you all the guests tonight. Thank you all the subscribers. And don't forget, Patreon is live. So if you want to go over to mcfcfantv on Patreon, you can support the channel. But take care and thank you. Cheers, guys.